Okay, we are live. Let's make sure we're here also. Okay, let's see. Okay, we have 5 people watching. Hey guys.
Hey everyone, how's it going?
Welcome in, welcome in.
All right, so we are getting set up here. I'm going to be doing some live coding here for a little bit. And, I'm just kind of like setting up my Ghosty terminal window and my VS Code and some of that stuff. So just give me a moment while we're going.
Hey from the UK. I love that. Hello.
Hey, what's up, Jay Trent?
Everyone drop in the chat where you're watching us from and what time it is there.
Let's see.
Hello, Steven.
How's it going, Steven?
Steven, where are you joining us from? From Arizona. Hello, right in our hometown. Okay. We're going to give Chris just a few more seconds to get set up. In the meantime, drop where you're watching us from, what time it is. We're super excited about this first build session of 2026. We had an incredible GitKon in December, and we had almost 10,000 builders, and the conversations were really incredible. And so if you were at GitKon, let us know who attended GitKon if you did in the chat. What's the project task today, Chris? Give Steven a little bit of a snippet.
So yeah, the thing I'll be working on today is just imagine you're at a company and you want to convince your boss to pay for GitKraken. Like you've been paying for it out of your own pocket for a while, and you want the company to pay for it instead. How do you go about that conversation? Well, I'm going to build a chatbot that you can practice against. Just like one of those like web UI chatbots, like talking to Claude or something, but it's very focused on convincing this chatbot that it's worth GitKraken, worth them paying for GitKraken. So you can kind of practice like your arguments, or at least like the benefits that you gain from using GitKraken, and maybe like learn a couple new ones along the way.
Okay, I love that. And you know what, Chris? That is a wonderful intro. So I'm going to let you go ahead and take it on. It's 5 o'clock in the UK. Well, thanks for sticking around with us. Chris is going to go ahead and jump in and show you guys this incredible project. So pay attention if you have a boss, especially that you might need to convince to get GitKraken. And we'll check in a little bit later with some more guests and some more surprises and some new product releases. And we'll be sharing all things happening in GitKraken land. But for now, I'll let Chris take us away.
All right. So I think I started trying to share my screen. There we go. Cool. So yeah, this is something that I've been kind of noodling on for, I don't know, just like on the side, because no one told me to work on it. I just kind of like felt like working on it. So right now, this is like, I haven't even looked at this in months. So I think we kind of deal with that as devs in general anyway, right? Like, oh, yes, we get moved from project to project, or we're getting onboarded to a new project that we haven't even worked on at all yet. Let's familiarize ourselves with at least like what's in the app so far. So I'm going to click get started. We'll see if this even works. Okay. So yeah, this is kind of where I'm at so far. We've got, the chat boxes. I've kind of set up a little bit of this stuff already. Some of the alignment's off, like, the edge of this chat box should probably be lined up with the submit button. Our designer would look at this and maybe be a little bummed. But the idea is just simply we can start typing our message. So it'd be something like, we're talking to our boss here, and he's like one of those grumpy devs. He's been senior for too long. He's been writing way too much Java code for too long. And, he's a little grumpy. So that's basically the gist of it. We can fine tune our prompt a little bit too. But the idea is just like, I have been using GitKraken and paying for it myself. I want the company to start paying for my license. And if I could type. So we submit that theoretically, and this is where we may have a bug. All right, cool. So then the boss says, so you've been shelling out for GitKraken yourself, and now you want the company to cover it. That makes sense if you're getting value out of it, but I need to know, what's the compelling reason the company should pay for your license? Are you using features that significantly boost your productivity or help the team, or is it just a personal preference? Convince me. And then we'd go through this back and forth about trying to do it. The goal is that you're supposed to be able to convince him. And one of the bugs we've had is that he is very stubborn. So we're going to have to fine tune the prompt a little bit. But this at least lets me know kind of where we're at as far as how the app is built, how it's working. Some of these things are obvious bugs that I need to fix, like this link right here. I can recognize that bug immediately because I've done that a bunch of times. So we see it right there. It's link. It's supposed to be a link that has an href and does this stuff. But it turns out I'm importing the wrong link. I'm importing the link icon from Lucide. I've done that too many times. So instead, link should come from Next.js. So that's a fun one. So yeah, we're jumping back into a project I haven't touched in a while. And hey, there you go. It looks ugly, but I think I'm just zoomed in too much. Probably some responsiveness stuff I should do here. But yeah, all right. So let's keep hacking at this. So I had some feedback at one point. I'm trying to remember what that feedback was. One of them was it's not necessarily obvious how to get started. So the feature I want to build out, and I'll do a very loose planning document here. And in this planning doc, let's think about the things we want to actually build. I don't think I have this anywhere else. Let me double check. Maybe it's in the README. No. Cool. Just making sure. And you know what? Hold on. Before I get too deep, let me announce this to my Twitch stream viewers. So, let's get some more people here in chat. So I'm going to announce this over on my Discord channel. Special occasion. I am streaming on the GitKraken Twitch channel, YouTube, LinkedIn, etc. Join me for a couple hours while I build a chatbot for convincing your boss to pay for GitKraken. If I could spell. All right, cool. So then let me just do this. That should be it. Do we have any messages over in Twitch yet? No. All right. So let me just do that announcement. Let me tag at everyone. I know. Sorry. I know everyone hates when they get tagged as everyone on Discord. but sometimes you got to do it. So yes, and I do it rarely on my channel, so I think it's okay. So then let me double check on chat here. Alexander says, share my prompt. You'll review it carefully and see how it could integrate or enhance your current triad-driven discussion flow. I know those are words. I don't know what they mean together, but I can show the prompt at least. Let me figure out where that even is. I think I've just got it embedded in here somewhere. Let me double check. I feel like, oh no, it's over in Constance. So yeah, over here in Constance, this is the prompt I'm using. It's a little verbose, but you know, we want to add context so that the bot understands a little bit of our products. This is definitely going to need to be like updated as we add new features, etc. But yeah, the basic prompt. And I normally have this bar on the right. So when I'm streaming, I have this like sidebar over on the other side. So this is like jarring for me, but it'll work. It'll work. So basically, you're a senior software developer. You're very set in your ways and don't put up with BS. Most of the time, you aren't wrong, but you don't phrase things diplomatically. You don't swear, but you don't pull your punches, right? So then, boom, that's like every senior like team lead we've ever talked to, right? So then I'm going to try and convince you, blah, 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 and we just go through the context there. Yeah. I get it, Alexander. Some of that stuff does seem a little bit like incantations, like, you know, magic phrasing and some of that stuff. And I don't necessarily ascribe to a lot of that stuff. Like, yes, you got to give it context about how it should behave. But I don't know. Some of that definitely seems like snake oil, in my opinion. Right, the whole triad of evolution, you are meta-conscious, like all that stuff really, really sounds like snake oil to me. But maybe I'm wrong. So anyway, let's keep building. Let's actually do some of our planning here. So first and foremost, right, like getting started with the bot, we should provide some example prompts, right? And it looks like Super Maven free tier is still working. I just realized on my personal machines, I'm using 95 currently. If Super Maven's still working, we don't need to change it today, but I will probably be switching out my auto completion extension here after this stream. So yeah, provide some example prompts to get the user started. What other features are we looking for here? And yeah, exactly, Keto Kibu, right? Sounds like a senior engineer, for sure. All right, so that's our first task. What else are we going to need, right? We need like a win condition. I don't know if we have that. We should probably even be displaying like, you know, display the amount of approval we have, right? So like percentage wise, because we are tracking a value of how convinced the senior engineer is. So let's look at least a little bit of how we're sending some of this data. And maybe a good thing would be to like go over the architecture. Because again, I haven't looked at this in probably a month or two, maybe even longer, definitely since before GitKon. So I need to at least familiarize myself with what is the overall structure of this. So I know I'm using Drizzle, right? We're using Terso as the database. If you guys haven't heard of Terso, it's cloud-hosted SQLite. You know, if I'm going to spin this up as a service, we need a database somewhere. And currently I'm doing a Next.js project and we'd probably run it on Vercel. And you don't want to run a database directly on Vercel. So instead, we need a third-party database that they can connect to. And I picked Terso for this one because I think Glober Costa, I think that's his name. He's a good dude. So I figured I'd try his product. I think that's his last name. Yeah, whatever. But yeah, Terso, if you haven't checked it out, if you're looking for a cloud-hosted database, it's, you know, it's one of the good ones. There's a bunch of them. Anyone have like a favorite cloud like SQL service. I know there's Planet Scale, there's Neon, there's Supabase, there's Terso. There's too many to name, but anyone got a favorite? And I guess here's the thing. Am I even looking at the right Twitch channel in that chat? No. So that's the wrong Twitch channel. So Jade, if you're listening, what is GitKraken's Twitch channel? Because I thought it would just be GitKraken. And let me just maybe send that message. And maybe Jade isn't listening, but yeah, she set up the StreamYard and all that stuff. So I'm not sure where any of this stuff's going, but it's definitely not going on Twitch right now. At least at GitKraken. Because I want to be able to see the chat. Oh, she didn't know we had one. So I don't know if we do then. I thought we did. So are we only on YouTube and LinkedIn? Because, yeah, this is why I think it would have been nice to have a call yesterday. But, oh well. Anyway, so yeah, I guess we're not on there. I'll inform my group chat over in Discord. I think that's definitely a miss, though. Like, Twitch is where you go for live stream stuff. I think that's the GitKraken channel. Yeah. So we should be live there at least. Let me just make sure I'm doing that right. Sure. Okay. Well, next time. Okay. So let's get back to looking at how we're building this. And I'll get back to looking at chat. And, oh, what's up, Caleb? How you doing? So, right, we're using Nano ID for our ID stuff because we are generating IDs here on the client. You know, so it's not like the most secure thing in the world. We should probably have a disclaimer at some point letting people know that the data is not fully private. Or in the future, we should add a login to make people create private data. So yeah, we need to add a disclaimer that data is not private until we add login support, which I think would be an interesting thing anyway. Probably get some of that lead gen going. You saw the announcement, got intrigued. Yeah. So you saw that over in my Discord, right? Yeah. For some reason, I thought we were live on Twitch. We're just live on YouTube and LinkedIn, but maybe next time. So as we keep going, the general architecture is, I mean, if we look at the package JSON, that'll inform us a bit more. So I'm using shadcn, which uses Radix for a bunch of stuff under the hood, even though I think Radix is basically unmaintained at this point. We're using the AI SDK for OpenAI, and I believe the AI SDK, is that the Vercel AI stuff? I think we're using the Vercel AI SDK, which is, I'm pretty sure it's that. We're using OpenAI as our LLM provider. So yeah, Drizzle, Lucide for our icons. Next, I guess we're on Next 15. Is that the latest? I don't even remember. React 19. So I would think, yeah, Next 15 is the latest. Tailwind, Zod. Yeah. So pretty straightforward tech stack. So as far as like plans for what we want to do, what I think we're definitely going to be able to get done today within the time we have is we want to provide some example prompts to get the user started. So let's just say we create a new chat. It starts out here. In a brand new chat, we want to show some options for what you could type as like buttons, and you just press that and it fills the box for us. So let's think about what that would look like. If we go to chat view, and technically we probably got some bugs here in chat. We're not using that at the moment. We'll let it happen as we go. And man, yeah, I think as we do these build sessions, we should definitely get some music going at some point, right? So we'll figure that out. That'll be a task for me next time. Right, because I like bobbing my head while I go. So if we think about this, when we get into the page, we've got our submit button section, right? Some of these things could be pulled out to their own components. What it looks like right now is we've got our header, we've got the chat history map right there, and it would probably go below the chat history map, but above this form. What I'm thinking is, it's going to need to push the text up, right? So it's going to be this box that lives above the chat box here, below the chat messages. Yeah, we can just make this a div at the end of this. So yeah, we're just going to prototype it out here. Make sure this is at least like something. So test, throw that in there. And we see that the box is there. What we want to do is maybe give it, and this is where I'm just kind of like YOLO coding some of the styling. I'm sure our designer will laugh at how bad some of these designs are, but we're just going to mess with it for now. So we're going to say rounded. We're going to say, what color am I using? Am I using gray or slate? I always forget that. So I'm using the grays. Let's give it a, I'm going to say like a 300 or something. $400. How about that? All right, so we've got that, sure. It should probably follow the same padding that we've got for the rest of it, so that part's fine. The inside padding should probably be something like this. I'm going to say P4. Yep, okay. And yeah, I think that gray 400 is actually wrong. We're going to make that more like a 100. Or wait, no, we want this darker. So it's going to be like a 700. But maybe not that same color. So even darker. Something like that. Maybe instead of background, just give it a border. So then, yeah, border, gray, and this we can make like the 500 or whatever, who cares? Yeah, I think that'll be better because then our buttons can live in there. And what we can do is we'll say we're going to need like it's probably like an H2, H3. I don't know. We'll have to look at our landmarks at some point. I don't think I even have that extension installed, so whatever. Getting started. Then a p tag, use can use one of these example prompts to get started. You can also type your own prompt, your own initial prompt instead. So then this is Super Maven. We'll let it autocomplete that. I think it's way off because they need to be buttons. So yeah, you know, Super Maven's not a mind reader. I get it. So what we want to do here is it is going to be a div. It is going to be like we could use grid. I'm going to be honest. Yes, I've been a senior front-end engineer at previous companies and stuff for ages. I still use Flex for everything. I do not opt for grid unless it's a very obvious grid. So that's what we're going to do here. We're just going to use Flex because I'm faster with it. Ooh. Oh, there's some music. Hey, thanks, Jade. Could we get it turned down just slightly? Perfect. Nailing it. Thank you, Jade. Just something in the background, you know? All right, so what we're going to do here is, number one, we don't want to do too much like boilerplate. So we're going to create some basic outside of the component. What are we going to call this? We're going to call this initial prompts, and it already knew what I wanted there. And these can just be strings. Yeah, for sure. All right, so initial prompts. The first one would be that thing that we just typed. Let me just go grab that. Oh, we refreshed though. Now I got to type again. Ugh. So yeah, we don't need to have these initial prompts like perfect right now. In fact, we're just going to say prompt 1, 2, 3, 4 kind of thing. And we'll just have 4 to begin with. All right, so we do that. And I've got an error, so it's not auto-completing everything for me. Because looks like we're missing an ending div. Oh. All right. So then in this, we want some spacing. We're not going to do the gap in here. The gap is going to be like, because I think we've all dealt with when we have items that we want to do like 50% width and then like wrap using Flexbox, and then you add gap, and then you got to like actually like fiddle with the widths. Instead, we're going to do the widths exactly, and we're going to add the gap to the child divs inside of it. So what we want to do here then is this is flex row still, and we're going to do flex wrap. Keeps wanting to do the gap. And then from here, initial prompts.map. This is going to be a button, but we should probably do button component. Well, at least do that part. And technically, hold on, we're not even doing the wrapping div that we were talking about. Wait, why is this complaining? Oh, because we're missing the key. Yeah, because this needs to go up on there. Now, technically, prompt is not the thing we want. We're going to do index because it's a stable array that we're not going to modify. And in fact, we should probably do as const just to make sure. All right, at least we'd get syntax highlighting if we try to modify it. Not syntax highlighting, like an error, right? The squiggles. So now that we've got this button, sure. What we want to do is make this div. width 1/2, and give this the padding that we were looking for. And we'll just say P2 for now. All right, and then up next, we want this button to be full width. And I think we want to use one of the other variants. I don't remember what variants we're looking for here. We'll say neutral. Sure. Okay, so it's... I was wondering why that was like that. All right, so yeah, this is all right so far. I feel like the padding's a bit much. We can fine tune the padding here in a bit. So at least we've got these buttons. We've got a getting started here for the user. You can use one of these example prompts, but we don't want to show this thing all the time. So we need to track some state of whether the user has typed a message yet. So let's look at that. So our current chat history is going to have this in it. What we could do, and I kind of like just like having a nicer variable for this so that it's like easier to read later, but we could just use this elsewhere. So the idea would be should show, and hold on, should show initial prompts. Nice. Super Maven nailing it. And the idea is, oh, and this isn't state. Never mind. No, this is just a utility variable. We could turn it into state later, but I don't know if we'll need to. Right? Because this is not something that's going to be very heavy for like recomputing as we like do our renders. So should show initial prompts. We'll say this is chat history.length equals 0, and it's actually equals 1. So then here, should show initial prompts would be this part. Now, technically, it's already a Boolean. We shouldn't need to do that. But it is instinct for me to wrap anything I'm going to be doing as one of these conditionals as a Boolean. Does anyone have like a preference? There you go, Jared. Dude, this hoodie is so nice. For everyone out there who hasn't seen, let me just show off this hoodie. It's just so good. Right? So, right, it's got the fade on the sleeve. It's a GitKraken hoodie. It's from GitKon. Just awesome, right? Looks like I might need to flip my screen or something, but I think it's good enough for now. But yeah, solid hoodie. It's like full fleece on the inside. You know how like cheaper hoodies don't do the fleece on the sleeves? Yeah, this is nice. It's like wearing a like wearing a blanket. All right, so we're gonna do this, and we're gonna do that, and we're gonna wrap this thing. But put it too far, and then yeah, we do this part. So then, right, should show initial prompts. If we just do something like this and hit submit, then it goes away. Perfect. And hey, the chatbot even recognizes the random characters. However, should it actually know that where it's trying to be convinced about GitKraken, that's where our prompt needs a lot of fine tuning. So we'll have to work on that, but it's what it is. So yeah, let's actually just create a new chat now. And let's make these prompts actually do something. So when we click one of these buttons, we basically want to submit the form. We want to do this same like form submission logic. So this is where maybe we need to extract this stuff into a function. right? So what do we want to extract from this, like this naive like form submission that's doing like all the work? And hey, what's up, Mai? How's it going? Oh, I didn't realize we were live on Twitter as well. Cool. But yeah, exactly, Mai. This thing is so cozy. Yeah, it's awesome. So yeah, as far as like making this thing generic, it seems to me that we do want to do all of this stuff. Yeah, this set timeout's a little gross. Keep in mind, like for everyone just joining, etc., I haven't looked at this code for a couple months, so I'm trying to like familiarize myself with what all we were doing and then adding to it. So the current user input, this is what we need to extract into something. Right, so if we're going to create a function, it's going to be something like all of this right, and because we're using React 19, and I think Next.js uses the compiler, we should be able to just create a function here, and it should be able to like wrap it in a use callback as we need, but recreating this function on every render shouldn't be that heavy either. So shouldn't be a big deal. So this is going to be submit user message. And the message is a string. It is an async function. And we just want to use it. Wait, why did that indent everything differently? Yeah, whatever. So yes, as we get to the form submission, which is right here, this is where we want to do this part. So this would be submit user message and current user input. So then that means that these buttons can do similar. Submit user message, and it's going to be prompt. All right, so if we were to do that, let's see what happens. Error sending message. Wait, what did I do? What happened? Yeah, so we'll look at what the bug is first, right? Let's head to inspect element here. And I like to pop it out. Not that. So then let me just make this a little smaller. I'll bring this over so I can grab it. And yeah, window manager? Nah, no one needs a window manager. I just do the chaos doom spiral of like having an edge of a window like visible. Anyone else do that? The window cornucopia. But yeah, so let's look at this. Let's try resubmitting. And we get an error. Too small. So what was our payload? We sent an empty message. So there's something broken there, and that is on our end. Because, yes, in building this function, we have current user input there, but we're not using it. There we go. So now, let's just refresh, get to a new chat, just to be on the safe side. So here we go. Prompt 1, error sending message. What? All right, still empty, but why? So now let's just double check this part. All right, and then the thing we're sending, oh yeah, it's because we did that. So there was another place where we were using that. This would be message as well. And the rest of that looks pretty good. So now, let's just do a new chat. Just start nice and fresh. Prompt 1, it's loading. Cool. All right, so there's that functionality, at least a little bit. And Jason, hold on. You see me do what all the time? I make mistakes all the time. That one specifically? Let's see. Like forgetting to replace a variable? I do that all the time, for sure. But yeah, so we pulled out that common function. We've got this. It submits. The prompt goes away. Perfect. Honestly, that like functionally does exactly what we needed it to. It's pretty awesome. I think like we've got that submit and it says like loading, right? What I want to do is like, sure, the button here says loading and it's in its loading state, but I also want to get like the animated like ... below this. So yeah, maybe we're yak shaving a little bit by doing this icon thing, but whatever. There is no Jira ticket that I need to worry about going outside the scope of. We're just hacking on this thing and having fun with it. So let's go get that icon. And I know there's some like React Awesome Loaders type library. Yeah. So React Loader Spinner, React Awesome Loaders. Anyone got a preference on any of these libraries? I feel like this one's probably fine. Ooh, you know what I can do? So here's something fun that I made on my stream a while back that I want to install. Chrome extensions. No, it's not going to matter. Sorry, I was thinking about a different thing. I have another extension where if I wanted to go to the GitHub repo, I could evaluate like the health of the project. We can just do that ourselves. So we can see that there's a good amount of contributors. Looks like the current build is passing. A lot of commits. As far as like the history goes, like modified just last week. So stuff in the README. Looks like mainly they were doing some CI/CD stuff. Project is about 4 or 5 years old. They probably haven't updated this since they did the license, or they probably did the license as one of the first things. Wow. Version 7. That's a lot of releases. This last release was September. Okay. So they're not doing releases that often. Wow. But yeah, pretty old library. Pretty cool. But I would say this is probably a healthy enough repo. I'm into it. One more thing we could really look at is insights and really see like who the core contributors really are. Yeah, so it's really just one person maintaining this, couple people putting like patches in every once in a while. But they're active enough, so I'm going to call it good. And we should all be doing this kind of like diligence when we're looking at bringing in libraries, etc. So the fact that he's even mentioning React 18, 19, etc., like even back to 17 support, no CSS required, they're pure SVG. Theoretically, they're even labeled and accessible properly. Yeah, seems great. So we're going to bring in this dependency, React Loader Spinner. And yeah, I'm using Ghosty as my terminal. I like it. There's definitely some bugs with it. Like they broke the ability to reset your shaders by just reloading your config. So if you've ever seen my Twitch stream, you've seen how like janky the shaders get because I never reboot my computer. You know, is what it is. But I like Ghosty. Sure, there was a major memory leak that I think someone fixed within the past week. It's like a passion project by Mitchell Hashimoto. I think because he's a billionaire, like he doesn't need to necessarily like worry about monetizing this thing. But I believe there's already like some like open collective thing that they've started if you want to help support it in some way. Right? Because I could imagine he may want to just hand it off to the community eventually when he finds some other passion project he cares more about. I believe I remember reading him say that he did this because he wanted to learn Zig, which I think is a great way of learning languages, like build stuff with it rather than, you know, just following random tutorials. So yes, we've done that. And let's look at which spinner we actually want to use. Okay, so their docs are broken. This live provider thing. Yeah, right? Like, shouldn't that page have just been showing these? But anyway, is there no just like show me all of them kind of thing? I just got to click through them. Okay. So as far as loaders go, bars could work. I think we just want to stick with something kind of standard. I just want to do like the ... dots. That one's not bad. This is already taking longer than I wanted. Okay, there we go. There's no way to just do them like sequential. It's fine. We don't need the bike shed on that. It's okay. We're going to do 3 dots. Okay, so then what we want to do here is div. And then, hold on, let me read some stuff. Really like me calling out how to evaluate NPM packages. You see a lot of people skip that step. Yeah, and like a bad NPM package can actually like exfiltrate a whole bunch of stuff from your machine that you didn't want. You know, I really like that about, I think, Dino, where you have to explicitly allow a package to make requests and things like that. You have to explicitly allow like post-install scripts and stuff like that. I think that's really good. But yeah, dependency management, definitely something we should all be more aware of, especially in this vibe coding era. Package hunting can be fun, but tiresome as well, depending on the project system. Yeah, exactly. JH, yeah. Easy way, not in your expertise. Send in massage full. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Easy way is fun. All right, so class name, this is going to be flex. Row versus column doesn't matter. Item center, justify center. And then 3 dots. And it looks like VS Code is not aware of that package yet. So yeah, it should just be it's not Lucide React. This is React Loader Spinner. And let's see if that worked. So then, nope. Yeah, and we didn't even wrap it right. So hold on. So, I mean, technically, yeah, we shouldn't even need to do that. Why is 3 dots not even showing? Do we have a bug in the console? No, that looks fine. I've done that before where I forgot to spin up the dev server, but a refresh should have fixed that. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think the dev server must have gotten disconnected. So that's fine. All right, so let's style this a bit better. We got it in there. We just want to make it gray or something, though, right? So how do we style it? And no, we're not going to do awesome loaders. Color, and yeah, so for color, we can say, I don't know, something like, I think we could technically do BG whatever, but yeah, no, we'll just make this a hard-coded thing, and we'll just call it, I don't know, 333, just to see. Yeah, like a glove. All right. So then we want to wrap this in while we are submitting. So this is loading. Yes. Why is that not auto formatting? There we go. Okay, so let's just double check one more time. We do that. Boom, submitting. Yeah. No, I like it. Yeah, that works. My responses are not taking this seriously. You're right. Oh, you're right. Good job, Neckbeard. That's my that's the internal name of this dude. I think it's accurate, right? All right, so what I think we want to do then, and yeah, like we can reload the chat. So what we do is we create a new one because this is the actual feature we're working on. Let's think about this part more. We should probably get the prompts in there, and the prompts, I think we're just like zoomed in too much. This is probably what a user would actually see. I just zoom in for like so that you guys can be able to read all this stuff, possibly on your phone. But this is actually what a user might see. So number one, I think the padding that we're doing is just a bit much. Let's just try that without it. And that actually, that looks fine. That looks pretty good, actually. So now, yeah, let's just do a P1. Yeah, all right. Halfway in the middle. So now let's actually think about these prompts. Git Kraken, Kit Kraken, different thing. Sure, right? I'm convinced that it's the best tool for managing my Git actions. I've been using GitKraken personally for a long time. I'm convinced it's the best tool for managing my Git actions. Would the company be willing to cover the license for work? And I think some of these are going to be a bit long, but we want to get at least some longer text in there so that we can visualize what that's looking like, because that's gross, because that's the button styling that's happening. So let's at least fix that part. So what we want to do is here in class name, we want and we're doing a p tag in here. Maybe this is what we want it on. What is it? White space? Or why are we not getting tailwind auto completion? It's like word wrap. There we go. Let's double check this. Let's fiddle with it via DevTools. So we got word wrap in here. What we're probably seeing is maybe a class on here that's doing that. We got white space, no wrap. We probably want to override that. And it looks like we need to do it on the button. White space, normal. There we go. Looks like there's maybe another thing in there that we want to override. I'm not seeing overflow. Disabled, focus visible, hidden, focus, size, pointer events. I think the pointer events one is weird. Yeah, so why is this thing not flexing right? Oh, because I think it's inline flexing and we want regular flex. Right, we should paragraph align that. And yeah, so now the issue is that the button is not laying out the way we wanted. And maybe flex is actually wrong anyway. And we want to make it block. Okay, so that's it. So we want height auto. And maybe flex would be fine. H auto. And voila. Okay, cool. And maybe we even want like H full, because the other button should also take up that same height. Okay, so that's a little better. I've been using GitKraken personally. So instead, we want to crunch up some of this, right? Like, there's probably like a maximum character length that we want to think about when doing this. So then, yes, let's make that a little better. I've been using GitKraken personally for a long time. Would the company be willing to cover the license for work? Sure. The next thing might be experienced with Git when I searched for a tool to help. GitKraken was the first thing that came up. First one I found. Would the company pay for it? And M. Chisholm. Hey, how's it going? What you up to? And yeah, like I'm seeing a lot of people that I know from my own Twitch streams hanging out. Appreciate you making it over to the YouTube. We'll get the Twitch GitKraken set up for next time as we do these, but how are you liking it so far? It's kind of fun, right? Feels very familiar to people used to how I run my stream. You know, maybe not exactly the same. But yeah, how's everyone enjoying this? Like, is this fun? I'm not showing too much of actual like GitKraken functionality at the moment, but you know, I feel like the project is at least GitKraken focused enough that it counts for this this stream. But yeah, so we've got 2 prompts. I don't know. Anyone got any ideas for like other initial prompts they would want to like use to get this conversation going with their boss? Anything they think might help? By the way, man, I really like these Red Bulls. All right, J-Lem, you had one of these when you were visiting, right? It's so good. For me, it's a toss-up between this one and the either the blueberry or the Juneberry one. This one's strawberry apricot. So yeah, Jason, typical good vibes. Yeah, I appreciate that. Thanks. All right, so yeah, we do need to come up with a 3rd and 4th prompt, or we could just ditch them for now, right? But we want to have it be like an even number. That way it stacks and, you know, tiles properly. But maybe we just comment out prompt 3 and 4 for now. What I think I want to do is look at whatever color they're using on the background here. And I probably want to use that same color for the border. So that's going to be BG something. BG secondary background. That makes sense. That way we can do prompt, do like theming. So border, you know what? That's not going to work. BG secondary background. We're going to have to just like hard code that. So yeah, var secondary background. Ugh. Let's just try this. Border secondary background. I don't think it's going to work. Hey, no, it actually did. All right, perfect. Good job, Tailwind. Nailed it. Okay, so. Ooh, Caleb. Yeah. So Caleb and M. Chisholm have some good ideas. So Caleb says, what about the virtual monorepo tooling that you guys have? That could be an interesting prompt. I see. Yeah. I like something along those lines. Yeah, let's do that. And then I've been blocked by GitHub Web UI while reviewing PRs. GitKraken is great for that. I see. Okay. And when you say blocked, it's more like the web UI slows me down or something, right? Like, so instead, yeah, let's get a couple of these going. So, we have multiple repos that we have multiple repos that are tightly coupled. GitKraken has a tool for making that easier. Can we buy it? Sure, something like that. And then this one, JH Rand, you got to get dinner started? Yeah, for sure. Thank you for hanging out. We'll see you again soon. Hopefully we can do more of these sessions because I'm enjoying it. I'm sure there's plenty of stuff we could work on. Technically, I could even work on the CLI and some of that stuff here on stream, which could be fun. And yeah. Like, I didn't necessarily plan out how I could, like, demo GitKraken features as much. But as long as we're building something GitKraken adjacent, I think that counts, right? So, yeah, M. Chisholm real quick. So, it's tough to review big PRs. Right. So, it's the UI of GitHub that kind of gets in your way a bit. And I think GitHub's in a tough place, right? This isn't necessarily like a bashing GitHub's UI thing. They have existed for so long that we are all kind of familiar with the rough edges around it now. But it's also something that they can't just like change willy-nilly because other people will get upset about messing up their workflows. So yeah, like GitHub is in kind of a tough place where they can't drastically change the UI without upsetting somebody. But if they don't change it at all, they're upsetting other people. So it's, it's really hard to win there. So I bet they're working on something behind the scenes to make PR review better, but we just don't know what it is yet. And then Caleb has some comments. So you've not tried it yourself, but you've heard it used by teams as like a submodule alternative, which sounds kind of interesting. Caleb, I would love to know more about that because I haven't necessarily heard from that many like actual users of our like work item functionality, which is really like what we're calling that internally. And I think in our marketing and stuff, like we do have a CLI tool that, helps work with multiple repos, possibly submodules, etc. And when you make changes, it can keep them in sync. And when you make a push, you can do one push command or one commit, and it'll commit for all of them. So you can kind of keep these things in sync. And yeah, that is definitely some functionality we have. So yeah, Caleb says, you think JJ doesn't support submodules? At some point, you'd be interested in seeing if there was some standard for a VCS agnostic alternative that could be used. And when you say VCS in this context, you mean like GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket, right? Like more like the hosting providers? Or do you mean more like like Git versus Mercurial type stuff. But yeah, I'd love to hear more about users that are actually using the work item stuff. It's hard because we don't necessarily like track users that deeply. You know, we have some like anonymized data, and we do see that there is usage, but we don't know who's using it. So, and I think that's probably something that most people would be happy to know, that we're not tracking that stuff that deeply, because, you know, privacy and all that stuff. But yeah, I haven't actually spoken to any users that are using the work item functionality, and I'd love to know more about that. Oh, so you did mean Git versus Mercurial. Yeah, so GitKraken is really like Git focused at the moment, and I don't think we see much. We don't see much demand for Mercurial versus Subversion versus any of that stuff. I think currently Git is going to be our main focus for a while. But yeah, okay, so for the fourth prompt, reviewing PRs in GitHub can be a bit of a pain, right? And again, this is not us trying to like poke at GitHub. It's just, you know, it's been around so long and it's hard for them to change. Let's keep that in mind. This is not us being negative about it. I think this is just a general sentiment that is out there in the world. So yeah, reviewing PRs in GitHub can be a bit of a pain. GitKraken is a tool for making that easier. We don't want to duplicate that part. I have heard GitKraken can help. I'm trying to think about the right way to phrase this. So you're browsing the Git subreddit. So it might have been like a post that we even made, because Jade is really good about the like the Reddit posts and stuff. So that's actually cool if you actually saw that subreddit post. So yeah, cool, awesome. So yeah, reviewing PRs in GitHub can be a pain. I've heard GitKraken has a nice UI for that. Would the company pay for it? Or would the team be interested in that? Sure, something like it. So now we've got these initial prompts. We can click one. All right, it's thinking, loading. So then, yep, neckbeard. Using GitKraken personally doesn't automatically mean the company should cover it. I need to know what specific features or benefits you see for the team. Are you talking about the desktop GUI, the integrations, or something else? Just saying you've used it personally isn't enough to justify a company license. Convince me why it's worth the investment for the whole team. Right? And honestly, GitKraken's so cheap. Your boss is probably gonna be like, wait, what does it cost? $5 a month? Just $5? It's only $5. Right? Some people might know that meme I'm talking about. Right? $5 whole a month. Yeah, let's just do it. Like, this conversation is already costing us too much money. Right? That's really the way I'd phrase it. At $5 a month, if it saves me 20 seconds a month, boom, value. You know? So yeah, so we could go through this process more. I would say I think we nailed it on the initial chat prompting. think we nailed it. Now we're going to have some like mobile responsiveness issues, but we haven't done anything mobile responsive for this yet. That's maybe a task we should add, but maybe not a task we're going to tackle right now. So what we can do is let's look at what we got going here. So we could use GitLens and create this PR or create this commit. I don't know if we need to compose the commit, but we do have uncommitted changes. I don't necessarily care about visual file history because I'm the only one working on this so far. We don't need to search and compare stuff. We do see that we have uncommitted changes, right? Our initial working demo, this is that previous thing. The uncommitted changes are what we got here now. Let's double check some of this. So yeah, this was what changed on that initial commit that we looked at, 42 files, whatever. What we want to do now is grab our changes. So we'll probably stage. Yeah, we'll probably want to stage like almost all of this, I would think. So yeah, let's do that. Boop. I am mainly a CLI user, so keep that in mind. And they have changed up this layout a bit recently. And wait, why is Docker desktop spinning up on me? Come on, Docker, get out of there. It's over on the side. All right, so yeah, back to it. What we want to do is add these changes. Here we go. Working changes. Yeah, we don't care about that or that. So yeah, we do want to add that. We do want to add the lock file. So yeah, this commit composer, I am currently kind of like still familiarizing myself with. But it's pretty cool. Let's also double check how this looks in GitKraken itself. So I don't actually have this loaded up in my GitKraken desktop, but we should probably add it. So what I want to do is we're going to browse for the repo in repos here. In GitKraken, public, convince your boss. All right, so now we see this work in progress, and we should at least double check what our changes are. So technically, we should compose these commits, and this is where I would want to maybe not explain, like, actually, this is kind of a nice feature. We can click explain here and have it generate an actual explanation for us, which is cool. And can I zoom in more? Yeah, there we go. So yeah, like that's one of the nice features. We can, you know, some of this stuff is left over from before I worked on it. So the start chat button, some of these things are separate. They're separate from like what we're doing in our chat view. We implemented some loading stuff. We added the MCP server, right? Added this dependency. Yeah, it's looking good. And real quick. And yeah, exactly, M. Chisholm, right? Not anti-GitHub, but yeah, I would assume that they have similar user feedback. The UI for reviewing PRs on GitHub could be better. So yeah, not a big deal, not a problem. And Vipul, let me know how to pronounce that better if you want. But yeah, how you doing? Welcome. And let me double check on time. Oh, and it looks like our GitKraken account is GitKraken official. Cool. And then Jade, if you're listening, you know, I have someone helping me run the stream behind the scenes. You might have seen Jade earlier if you were here when we started, but I'm just double checking on scheduling. How much more time do I have? Just want to make sure of that. So I'm going to send a quick message to her. Oh, okay. So we got about 30 minutes left. So at about 11, we're going to switch what we're doing a little bit. So let's at least, you know, commit and get what we got going here. And then we'll start maybe brainstorming on the next feature. But what I want to do is I want to make a commit, and this is going to be a bad commit. And the idea is, could we recompose those commits and make them better? And could we do that with AI somehow? And keep in mind, I've been focused more on our CLI tool, our MCP server, and some of those things lately. So some of these features, you know, it's technically my job. I should know GitKraken Desktop better. But we do have like various subject matter experts at the company. And currently, we've got one for desktop, we've got one for GitLens, and I'm kind of the one for the MCP server and the CLI. So keep that in mind. So I'm familiarizing myself a little bit. So if we just stage all changes, sure, call that good. And then, so this is where we're at. So we don't even need to do the bad commit. We could do like a terrible commit that just has all of this stuff in it, but instead we could compose the commits with AI. And this is a brand new feature. So brand new-ish. It's going to take all that stuff we're working on. It's going to kind of like, you know, try and like figure out what things belong together. And give me a second. I'm going to go grab another Red Bull while this is running. Oh, and of course, as I go to get up. Well, just give me a second. I'm going to grab a Red Bull. It'll take me just 10 seconds, 30 seconds. All right. I got Red Bulls specifically for today. Back when I was like snowboarding a lot, I was drinking way too many energy drinks, and I've, you know, basically tried to like cut down majorly. Most people who remember my stream know that I was drinking, you know, like 2 a day. Since I don't know, like a year or two ago, they've been like a rare occasion thing, and I'm kind of proud of that. But today is one of those rare occasions. All right, so what we can see is all that stuff I did, you know, we could have just done like git add dot and then, you know, git commit dash m changes. But instead, we get these nice, like properly segmented commits. And this can just help you in your code review process. Like you could look at the commits like little by little and understand what someone was kind of intending with what they're doing. And real quick, let me get some of these messages. Caleb, you're surprised we couldn't get GitKraken on Twitch. You've looked at the Twitch policy, but usually platforms have a no username camping clause in their TOS. Yeah, there's probably a way that we could reach out and get like the GitKraken account. Like it does look pretty dead. So I'm sure there's some way that we could reach out for that. And yeah, we should probably do that at some point. Next comment was Keto Kibu says they love the compose commits feature. It's great for reorganizing your scattered brain. And yeah, sometimes like, you know, that loading spinner, that was outside the scope of the task that we were kind of like doing, right? To get those initial prompts. So yeah, I just think it's nice because as you're working, you are going to yak shave these things. And instead, what we could maybe do is we could drop a commit and maybe those changes don't get like part of like what we commit here. And then we could switch to another branch and like add those changes there. So just being able to like do this stuff without having to manually head to the command line can be nice. Me personally, I am a command line user for most Git actions, right? It's muscle memory. I look at my hands when I type. You've probably noticed that. But for me, like, yeah, I can do this part, right? Git, commit, -m, right? Like for the most part without looking. I'm not a touch typer in general, but Git commands are something that I type fast. However, right? Like Git, commit, whatever. Sure, I do that stuff all the time. You know, I got my Git history, I got auto completion. There's a whole bunch of reasons that I'm most familiar and comfortable in the CLI. There are other times where I may want to do like an auto-generated commit message, and I could do git commit, or sorry, GK, which is our CLI tool. If you haven't seen it, you know, we've got a whole bunch of stuff in there, and theoretically, we've got these things added, right? So however you want to use Git, we can work with that. We can do GK AI commit, and boom, it's going to generate a commit message from the CLI too. So yeah, adds initial prompts and loading state. Now, is this as nice as that compose commits thing? No, but it is kind of cool. So if you are one of those people, and I saw this meme the other day where it was like git commit -m, right? Quote. And then it shows like the rock just sitting there thinking, right? Because I don't know about y'all, but when I do git commit -m, then I have to like, oh, now I got to think. Now I got to actually like write a command. Oh, so instead, like, yeah, you know what? AI is actually really good at generating these commit messages. So you can just let it do that. And then another comment, is this also the same sort of view as the GitKraken interactive rebase? I think it's very similar. I don't know if it's the exact view as the rebase, but it does feel very familiar. I'm not a rebaser, so I don't usually use the interactive rebase. Give me a merge commit. I don't want to mess with history. I personally find it easier to like bisect on things, which is a rare occasion anyway. I find it easier to bisect on things with merge commits and all that. And technically without squashing. But I can understand squashing when you have way too many like intermediate commits. Like imagine when you're like iterating on your like GitHub actions. Yeah, you should probably squash those, you know? So Keto Kibu is saying he believes it's the same UI as the interactive rebase. Okay, yeah, I know it's very similar, right? I couldn't remember what the differences might be, but it is basically this same like, you know, pick, reword, squash, drop kind of stuff. So yeah, this is an interesting bit. Like we could pick certain ones and squash them together into one commit if we so wanted. We could reword it, you know, and have it regenerate the message. So we could, you know, hey, did the AI kind of mess up? Yeah, we can modify it ourselves. I guess, yeah, it's pretty cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say like, all this looks good to me. Sweet. Save me some effort. Create commits. Ooh, original Red Bull flavor is good too. But yeah, so there we go. We've got these commits, and we could push them up. We should probably just do that. I didn't create a branch for any of this. So yeah, we're going to push to origin main. Yep. And we are good to go. So now we're in sync with the remote. And what's up, Shashi? How you doing, Mr. Sir? How's the hackathon going? Is that still going? Like, who do we need to send some swag to? And then Caleb, does GitKraken have functionality for amending commits and moving changes between commits? So yeah, what you might have been seeing is like, if we select all of these and right click them, we could theoretically recompose with AI. So hackathon is still going, ending at the end of February. They're learning a lot with and about AI. Awesome. Yeah, for everyone out there, Shashi Low over on Twitter is where they're chatting from. He runs this thing called, and I'm going to forget it, Gridiron Survivors. Now, currently they're doing a hackathon that is maybe separate from like the Gridiron Survivor application that they were building before. And I guess I haven't watched enough of it, but you should all go check it out because it's really cool. He is doing this like mentorship program to help juniors understand how working in a team is. Because when you're starting out, it's really easy to get into this silo of only knowing how like you work with code. And he is helping other people understand how to work with other people. Because any job you're going to get is most likely going to involve working with other people and making sure that you can coordinate changes, understand like who's changing what and where, and how do you communicate these things, and how do you use Git and other tools to make that process work. And I believe GitKraken is helping sponsor some of that stuff. I hope I didn't drop the ball on that one. But yeah, it's a really cool process. So definitely do check out Shashi Low's content on Twitter. I think I've seen it streamed to LinkedIn as well. Yeah, no worries, Shashi, for sure. Yeah, it's really good. Like, I know several people who have been part of the Gridiron Survivors cohort, and they all speak so highly of it. It's really cool. So then Caleb is asking, interesting, can you manually recompose commits? Yes. Yeah. So this is the AI commit composer. But what if we just wanted to do this ourselves? There should be a recompose or something in here. And again, the desktop app is not my main point of expertise. So I am floundering a little here. If we had Jonathan with us, he could show y'all a lot of really cool stuff. Like this is his bread and butter. So yes, the answer is yes. But do I remember where that is? Not quite. It really is like, we could do interactive rebase. And I think interactive rebase might help us with that part. So this might be like the recompose part. I know there is a recompose that you can do manually. I'm floundering on where it is. So Caleb is saying, no worries, you've not used GK, so you're a little curious. I do believe there is something like that in GitLens that you have mentioned you use, right? And this is where I would like lean on Melise to show me where that specific feature is. All right, so I'm pretty sure there's a way to do this. Let's look at our history. Let's pull up the commit graph. All right, so here we go. This is that same view that you're used to in GitKraken Desktop for people that are familiar. And at this point, we could maybe say, let's right-click this and recompose selected commits. And of course, I have an error. I might be on... Let me double check. Am I on pre-release right now? It's entirely possible. No. Interesting. All right, so I'm not sure what that bug was. We'd have to dig into that, but yeah, that is interesting to me. Yeah, I might have to show this to the GitLens team. I'm not sure why this would be breaking. But GitLens does have a recompose functionality. And usually when something's in preview, it's actually on available on the free tier. So you might check it out and see how you like it. So then, Caleb, use GitLens for the inline blame stuff because it's great. Yeah, fantastic. You tend to use other tools for the other version control stuff, though. And yeah, there you go. Thank you, Jade, for the shout outs. Yep, you can try GitKraken for free. Oh, I do think it's interesting. So, Jade, if you're unaware, the messages you're sending here in chat, they're not going out to Twitter. So you may want to bring that up and just paste over to there manually. Totally up to you. But yeah, this is our first major Twitch stream, or not Twitch stream, but live stream like this. We're kind of figuring out some of the nuances of working with the various platforms. And yeah, we'll get up on Twitch here eventually too. And yeah, full disclosure, and I'm okay with it. Caleb works for a separate company that makes also a really cool tool. And I really do think the other company he works for, what they do doesn't even really compete with what we're doing. We're not competing with what they're doing. They have separate ideas of what parts of the Git flow need to be optimized. And the way they do that is different. And I honestly imagine people using both, right? You could use Git Butler, Tower, GitHub Desktop, GitKraken. You could use all these things in any workflow that works for you. Just make sure that you're enjoying it, you're being productive, and that's all that matters at the end of the day. In my opinion, and maybe GitKraken might not be as stoked on this opinion, we're really on the same team. And that team is making developers' lives easier to work with Git. So I am more agnostic about that stuff. I think no matter what, if any company convinces someone that a tool to make Git easier to work with succeeds in convincing a user, I know I'm phrasing this wrong, it means that we all win, because that is then a user that would consider any other tool as well. So I think it is not a zero-sum game. There are people that use multiple products that make Git easier to work with, because Git is a little confusing. There's 70 commands. Did you know that? Have you seen some of the stuff that GitLens is doing under the hood? This is insane to me. Let me see. How do I pull this up? Nope, not that. Here we go. Right? Let's look at output. Let's go to GitLens. All right, so that's the GitLens stuff, GitLens Git, right? So look at all of these commands that are being run, right? Git remote, sure. Git log, git config, git for each ref. As we start doing some of these crazy things, this is all stuff that GitLens and other tools are doing for you under the hood, right? Git work tree list porcelain. What the hell does porcelain mean? I don't know. And you don't have to know, because you can use tools that make this stuff easier to work with. Git ls files, git rev parse. I have never run ls files or rev parse manually in my life, and I don't plan on it anytime soon. So yes, I still use the CLI for the basic stuff. Git push, git pull, git commit, git status, right? Git add. It's just easy for me. I have that muscle memory, but I will never run any of this stuff. And this is what tools like GitKraken offer you, like GitLens, etc., like Git Butler. So yeah, Caleb is even saying a lot of the work he's doing at the minute is getting their tool to work better with other tools. So switching between Git, Kraken, and Back could totally be possible. And it should be, right? Because it's just Git under the hood. As long as both tools speak Git, we're good to go. And then Porcelain makes commands use a much more stable output that is often designed to be easier for other tools to parse. Okay. So it's more for like programmatic output rather than like user output, right? So you would pass Porcelain to get this like easily like regular expressionable output rather than a thing that a user is supposed to be able to read. I get it. That makes sense. But yeah, just wanted to point that out. If you are ever curious about what GitLens is doing under the hood, yeah, you can just hop on over to VS Code, look at the output, and pick this GitLens Git output. And I find this stuff fascinating. And you can see what any extension you have is doing. So if you've never actually explored this part of VS Code, it can be fascinating. Is it necessary? All right, so we've got this commit. We've got it pushed up. We've got about 10 minutes left. So I want to open this up to, questions or things that people might want shown or demoed before we have some guests come on. I'm going to still be, sticking around and hanging out, but in about 10 minutes, we're going to have a guest come on talking about another cool Git Kraken feature that we're building or product or whatever you want to call it. I think for myself, this feature's done. Provide example prompts. Yeah, nailed it. I think displaying the amount of approval we have could be a fun feature next. I don't know where we'd want to put that in the UI yet. Adding a disclaimer that data is not private until we add login support. That could be cool. There's probably some like design stuff that I should focus on. And just a quick bit. It looks like when our next guest is backstage and ready, Jade's going to jump on and intro him. So I at least want to make sure we answer any questions people might have in the meantime. And let's, if there are no questions, we can keep like thinking about what should we do here. And yes, another thing we should probably end up getting going is make mobile responsive. And what would that look like? Because we are definitely not mobile responsive here. So I think the easiest bit would be we move the image up to the top of the page, right? And stack them. And then, yeah, that like the typing widget thing should stay at the bottom still. I think mobily, the getting started is going to be a little tricky. Is this app going to be published anywhere? That is the goal. I think we would need to make sure that it is safe so that you can't hijack the prompt. I have a little bit of that in there. I mean, the goal would be, yes, eventually, but this is not a task that anyone gave me. This is just a thing that I decided to start working on. So at some point, I'm going to need to get buy-in from above to like get this published, make sure that we have keys assigned to this and we have a budget assigned to like the API calls so that we don't go over that budget. Like there's various things just to make sure like if it does go viral, we're not breaking the bank. I would love it if we could publish this. There's a lot of work to do, and when we have it in like a fully usable state, then I think it could be better. So this like getting started prompt was one of the initial bits of feedback I got from one of our main designers, or I guess our main designer. Yeah. And, there's just other things we got to work on, get a Git Kraken logo in here. I think on the main page, we need a lot more here to inform people of like what the point of this is. I do have this warning. So it turns out that disclaimer is good, but maybe another would be add login support for private chats. Right? And then maybe we can fix this. So yeah, there's a lot of polish and other stuff to do, especially like the mobile responsiveness. I would love to get this published at some point, but it's not any priority. Like I volunteered this project for our internal hackathon. It didn't get selected as one of the ones that we were approved to work on. So I, didn't have any time to put to it. But Keto Kibu, are you saying like you'd love to like use this and practice and, pass it on to your coworkers so they could convince their team leads and stuff? Is that what I'm hearing? Like, is there a user demand for this? Maybe, maybe not. But okay, so let's actually try and make this mobile responsive. We'll do that as the first thing. Right? We'll just hack at it because, yeah, we got some time to fill. Mr. Jedi, or maybe, is that like Master Jedi? How you doing? Welcome. All right, so the chat. Oh, there we go.
How are we doing, guys? I hope everyone's enjoyed this first session of our build session for the day. We have a very exciting next guest up. This was actually one of our highest rated speakers from GitKon, and he is a crowd favorite here at GitKraken, obviously. And so while we're talking about convincing your boss, right? What your boss also might want to know and what you might want to know is how AI is actually affecting your team. And so we have GitKraken's VP of Dev Research, Jeremy, here, and he's going to show us some really cool new features that GitKraken Insights has created. And we're going to bring him up and ask all the questions you want. And Jeremy, we're bringing you to the stage. Hello.
Hey, what's up, crew? How's it going?
Good. How are you?
So good. We're wonderful. And we're really excited to have you here today. I'm going to pop off backstage again, but Chris and Jeremy, please take all the time you need to chat, and in the chat, ask any questions you have, and we will go from there, okay?
Awesome.
Sounds good. Nice.
I love that. Chris, how's it going?
Pretty good. Yeah, I was just working on that Convince Your Boss app thing. Added a feature that someone had requested when I did the internal demo previously. Yeah.
I love the hoodie, by the way.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah, it's like the fade on the sleeves. Like,
you could do a session just on the hoodie.
Right? Yeah, exactly. The fleece on the inside of the sleeve is so good.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Well, cool, man. Yeah, where do you want to begin? I've got some slides. I can get into a demo. I can answer any questions. Whatever.
Yeah, I mean, maybe just like a quick intro for the audience. Like, what are you going to be talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. So quick intro on myself. So I'm Jeremy, as Jade mentioned, VP of Dev Research at GitKraken. So I've been at GitKraken for 3 years, last November. So we've launched so many cool, products and features in the last 3 years. It's been amazing. Before GitKraken, I actually led teams at Docker, which obviously is a well-known DevTools company, infrastructure company, and New Relic, which is a monitoring observability tool. So been in the DevTool space for quite some time. Obviously excited any chance I get to talk to users and our audience. So
awesome.
But yeah, for today, gonna be kind of just going over one of the most recent products that we launched called GitKraken Insights, which is a full stack dev intelligence tool. So it gives team leads and managers the ability to help their teams ship better code and go faster. So that's sort of it in a nutshell.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I think that makes sense, like at least from a top level, but what does that look like? So I'm guessing you're going to show us some slides that show us what that looks
Yes.
like.
Yes. Okay. Let me jump into that. I will share my screen here.
Okay.
Let's see. Share screen. This is the first time I've done this with this program, so let's see if it'll allow me.
May have to restart it.
Let's see. Is that working?
It is. Yeah.
All right.
Awesome.
Can I go into slideshow mode?
Should be able to.
How's that?
Awesome.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I'll just hit a few slides and jump in if you have any questions. But yeah, I'm really just going to give a high level of what is GitKraken Insights. It's essentially developer intelligence. What we mean by that is helping teams really quantify their speed, their velocity, but inclusive of things like code quality, team health when it comes to developer sentiment. Obviously, that's core for who we are because we're a dev tools company. So that's really a big component of this. And I'll get into that more here in a second. And really, this has become such an important topic for teams as we've seen kind of the AI coding tools roll out, across the board. And we talked to a ton of customers, we talked to a ton of developers and a bunch of teams. What we're seeing, and it's also based on some research, but like somewhere between 80 and 90% of devs are using AI somewhere in their workflow. So not universal yet, and there's obviously different ends of that spectrum. But it's remarkable adoption for a tool, for a set of tools that have really just been around for maybe the last 3, 4, maybe 5 years. So that's kind of what we're going to get into.
And I think one thing I want to point out for the audience is like, you don't have to be one of these people who's like whole hog and like using these like agent orchestrators like Ralph and all that stuff. Honestly, like Super Maven or any like code auto completion in your editor still counts as AI usage, right?
Yeah.
So that's probably the majority that we're seeing, right?
Yes, absolutely. And Copilot obviously is a big one. Just because it's such an easy, it's so easy to get into it and it's very accessible. But you're absolutely right. I mean, it doesn't have to be like fully agentic workflows. Now there are certainly some teams that are experimenting and exploring and getting into some of that, but some teams are really just getting started. So
yeah, exactly.
It's all good. Yeah.
Yeah, I think people in the dev world are like, they're feeling like pushed into like they need to be like at the forefront of like doing all this agent stuff. And you know what? You can just like warm up to it, right? You don't have to be at the forefront.
Yes, absolutely. And as you are kicking the tires and just kind of getting started with some of it, it's great to be able to actually have something to sort of measure before and after. So if you can, have some metrics or some tool, there's nothing that's going to be a silver bullet. We know that. But having like a good consistent mix of like, hey, here's how we measure this. Is it actually helping us go faster? Not only that, is it actually helping us ship better code, or is it deteriorating the code that we're shipping, right? And so like having some way to measure that as you're rolling those things out, so you have like a baseline, it would be, it's really good. So a lot of teams are approaching it that way.
Exactly. Cool. Sorry to keep interrupting. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The questions are great because I think it helps to sort of clarify as teams are, folks are thinking about this. But so this is just a high level overview of, the GitKraken platform. The top half of the circle, you can see these are all the tools that you're probably familiar with. GitKraken Desktop, GitLens, we have GitKraken MCP, the CLI, GitKraken.dev, browser extension. So lots of tools. Tremendous value, obviously, for developers, productivity, collaboration, help you stay in flow state, code reviews, visualizing code changes, conflict prevention, all these types of things. Down on the bottom half, though, is what we're going to be, talking about today, which is GitKraken Insights. It's developer insights. So this gives teams visibility into a bunch of different things, but you can see it's like DORA metrics, code quality, AI impact, a whole bunch of other stuff. Developer sentiment is huge through what we call the voice of developer surveys, and we'll get into some of that. But really, it's just helping teams get visibility, velocity, so they can improve kind of like their workflows and have some metrics to go along with it.
In the chat, Caleb says, LLM and code provenance is a really cool topic. At the GKon, there was some cool discussion about how even character-based diffing could be used for tracking this stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely. 100%. Like what I'm seeing is right now, like teams are, the first iteration of this was like, oh, how many lines of code did AI generate? And I mean, it's kind of interesting. And it was like, well, how many active users, right? And those things are good as you're sort of getting started. That doesn't really tell you how is it impacting our code base, right? And so that's how, like, what's really cool is even like our internal teams here at GitKraken, they're using GitKraken Insights really to kind of get to that next layer, which is like, cool. We want to be able to see, track usage and tab suggestions and stuff like that. But we actually want to see it alongside all these other metrics to be able to actually get deeper and get more sophisticated on how, these workflows, these tools are actually impacting our code base. So yes, a great call out. And I think like there's still a lot to come here. Cool. So just one more kind of quick slide here, and then I'll get into the demo. But one of the things that really, there's different ways you can actually go about trying to get this information. What I want to just make clear is, GitKraken's solution or approach to this is completely different in a number of different ways. And that's what you see here. So first of all, developer trust is huge for us. Developer experience is core to who GitKraken is. It's part of our DNA. So we are always developer first. These tools are built by developers for developers. So that's really critical. And it also helps with engagement. So things like surveys, you guys already love our GitKraken tools. And so there's going to be better engagement when it comes to things like developer surveys, because your manager wants to know, like, what's the vibe on the team, and how do we make sure that team health is tracking along with all these other metrics. So that's a big one. Being able to get, as I mentioned, not just one metric in isolation, but see a whole, really the whole picture. That's across DORA metrics, which folks are probably familiar with, but also includes code quality, AI impact metrics, and certainly developer experience. And then like being able to set this thing up fast is so critical. We've heard from so many teams where there's kind of a couple routes. One is like the DIY or like the homegrown, where it's like, hey, write some scripts, pull some of this off of GitHub, pull some of this off of Jira, and, bingo, bango. Now that can be okay, but there's a couple big problems that, customers, come to us and talk about. One is like, it doesn't scale. So it's very tough to sort of like scale these things to big teams. Mm-hmm. The other thing is just maintenance, right? Someone's got to go in and sort of like build these dashboards. And so that can be a bit of a headache to continually keep those things updated. So the other end is like, go buy some complicated, enterprise platform that is exorbitantly expensive and it takes 6 months to implement. It gives you surveillance vibes, right? They're definitely not developer first. And it's like you have like a bunch of consultants that you have to meet with to set this up. GitKraken Insights is not that. It's like 15 minutes, connect your GitHub, you're off and running. Cool. Yeah, and then just getting, obviously we wanted to be actionable. So it's not just dashboards, it's the ability to kind of click in and see where action is really taking place so you can help your team improve. So I know I said a lot there, Chris. I don't know if you have any questions, but that's really what's different about GitKraken Insights.
Yeah, I mean, at least speaking from like a developer perspective, when we hear about like how we're going to be measured like this, we, we kind of like, we've heard the horror stories about like the late 80s where people were being like measured by lines of code and like you're not pushing lines of code, like, oh, you're on the chopping block, Yes. And it's just more like, it's not to make you like the moment you make a metric like a target, it becomes a bad metric, right? And
right.
Instead, this is just to like give you some insights, some like understanding of what's happening.
Yeah.
Not to be weaponized against a developer like your Jira burn rate or some stuff like that, right?
Yeah, 100%. And like most teams, especially with the rollout of AI, are going to be looking, whether it's team leads or managers or engineering leaders, they're looking for these types of tools. My encouragement to devs on the team is like, just use GitKraken Insights. It's going to be way more dev friendly. It's going to be super transparent. A lot of these other like really complicated, expensive tools, they're literally built for like the CFO, you
Right.
know, and like the dev team doesn't really get visibility, but this is something you can use in a stand up and be like, oh, well, we know why lead time is ticking up. It's because we had this massive influx of, you know, work that we had to go do. Right. And we can like, use these things and explain them. So anyways, but yeah, totally get it for sure. Right. And that's why we built it in a way we don't want it to be punitive at all. So
Awesome.
cool. And then let me just hit on, I guess, this one more thing here, but just kind of like showing what's here and what's coming. So currently, you know, in our platform, we've got over 30 metrics, and that's across Dora, pull request analytics, code quality, whole bunch of stuff. We've got a bunch of integrations across things like GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket, ADO. So if you're using any of those, this works for you. You can connect to your AI tooling providers. So Copilot, Cursor, Claude Code, we're adding a bunch more of those. You can connect those in and pull in a bunch of metrics, issue trackers. You can have personalized dashboards. You can export this. A lot of teams want to export this data because they've got, you know, they've got somewhere else that they want to actually visualize this. So you can do that. There's a lot you can do in terms of compare and contrast. And then you can see a whole bunch of stuff that we're adding in the very near future as well. So really, really exciting stuff.
Awesome.
All right, cool. Let's jump into the demo. Sound good?
Yeah, sounds great.
Awesome.
Because I haven't even seen much of this yet, so I'm
Yeah.
really curious.
Yeah, it's such an awesome tool. What I'm excited about is like it's really helping teams solve major headaches in terms of like this is such a pain. Like it's not bad when it's like we just want, you know, one metric, you know, we can write a, you know, script and pull it out of Jira. But when it's like, no, we actually need to see the whole picture, it just causes such a pain for teams. So this is like cool, works out of the box, and teams can get back to like building, you know, stuff and value for their customers. So that's been really cool to actually see this. So this is what we're looking at. Chris, do you have a good view of it before I get started?
Yeah, it looks pretty good. I mean, could you maybe do a little bit of a zoom in, like for the font sizes?
Oops.
Yeah, that's better.
Okay, cool. So yeah, so this is GitKraken Insights. It's a dashboarding tool. If you've seen, you know, dashboarding tools, it's going to, you know, look like it has some of the same functionality here. But this is a dashboard that I set up where I can actually pull in a bunch of metrics right off the bat across Dora metrics, AI impact and usage, you know, pull request analytics. And right off the bat, one of the things I want to jump into here is deployment frequency. So I can see, obviously, there was a big drop here. That must have been around the holidays. I'm thinking there was probably a lull and then things started ticking back up. But I actually want to jump into this so I can see maybe where this activity was taking place or where the lull was happening. So what's cool is right off the bat, I can see, wow, all right. So now I can actually break this down by which repositories, you know, have activity in them. So if I'm a team lead, if I'm a dev, if I'm an engineering manager, I can come in here right away and see like, oh man, you know, this set of repos is deploying really fast. This set of repos is, you know, the activity maybe is not so much, but it gives me the ability to actually, you know, have that information at my fingertips, which has been super helpful for teams. So that's one use case, is just being able to understand where activity is taking place or where my teams might be getting stuck. Like if I expected there to be a lot more activity in a certain repo, then maybe I can, you know, sync up with that team, see if there's anything I can help unblock. But this gives me that visibility really quickly, you know, right at my fingertips.
And yeah, just to point out, like there's no developers' names on any of these things. This isn't trying to call out like you as a dev not pushing enough PRs or any of this.
Exactly.
Right? This is just about like how are teams working and delivering, and are they getting blocked? We can see this from a high level.
Yeah, 100%. That's a great call out. And that's what, you know, again, another big difference here is like, we want this to be like at the team level, not punitive for an individual dev. If you look at some of these other tools, it's like very punitive. It's very, you know, exacting to specific devs. And we've all known this for a long time. I think developers were probably the first ones that, you know, were aware of this. Is like, you can game these metrics, right? If like somebody shows up and they're like, hey, we want to see more deployments. Like, okay, sure, we can do more deployments. But that's not really what the team...
Deployment per every single line change. Got it. No big deal.
Exactly, right? And that's not what we're after here. It's like just helping the team get better. And if there really are things that are blocked, let's understand why and how we can help the team, you know, get those things unblocked.
Exactly.
So, Cool. So you can also see some of the things like AI impact, AI usage. So like right here, we're seeing like cool active usage over the last 90 days for GitHub Copilot. Again, things have been trending down because I think we saw some activity lull for the holidays. But again, this is something that we could click into and get a really nice view of sort of like, hey, which repos have the most like AI activity. So just again, another nice view there to be able to sort of see what's happening. One of my favorite charts though is a pull request analytics chart, and that is cycle time. So this is like literally first commit to merge. How long does that take? And over time here. So I'm going to click into this one. It looks like cycle time is slightly ticking up, which obviously we don't want to see that, but maybe it means that we just have more activity. So let's just jump in and see if we can take a look at that. Now, this might take it a second to load, but what I want to see here is a nice scatter plot that actually shows me all of my pull request activity, and it ranks them, using like a Dora scale from, less than a day is like elite, 1 to 7 days is fast, 7 to 29 days, and then over 30 days. So here I get this nice scatter plot. The last 90 days, all the pull requests within these repositories that I'm looking at. And I can start to see kind of the patterns of my team right off the bat, which is awesome. And then here, what's cool is like, I can see, this pull request, it took 43 days, but I actually have some context on this. I could jump into GitHub if I wanted to, but I know that this one actually, we went back and we had to do some rework on. So that's why that one took longer. So it's not necessarily bad that it took longer, right? But now I have this information, right at my fingertips, which is really cool.
Awesome. And yeah, like you mentioned, the holidays, there's definitely like a big gap in there.
Yeah, for sure. So as a team lead, when I'm just trying to help my team, get unstuck or whatever, this is the type of stuff that can be really helpful for the team. So I'm not going to go through all the metrics. We have a ton of stuff here, that you can go through and add and subtract. Everything's fully configurable. So you can remove charts, you can add charts, you can, drag stuff around, you can make stuff bigger, make stuff smaller, which is cool. It gives you all the niceties. There's a few filters that you can go by. We have a nice time picker. So maybe, 90 days is great for like longer term trends, but I want to see like what was the activity sort of in the last sprint. So you could just say like last, 30 days or last 14 days. That gives me nice visibility as well. And then what's cool is like, in terms of like what I'm looking at right here, I actually just have a number of repositories selected. You could look at one repository at a time. You could look at 100 repositories if you wanted to. So it's really cool. It gives you that flexibility to actually go through and pick what you're looking at.
Awesome. And is there a way of doing that based on workspaces yet?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great call out. So workspace, just for if folks aren't familiar, is just a group of repositories. So let's say I know team A had this 6 repositories. I'm just going to create a workspace. I'm going to add those 6 repositories, and I'm going to say, workspace for team A. And then what I can do is actually just select that workspace.
Ah, there it is. Cool.
Yeah. And then it should just give me, boom, the metrics for those specific repositories in that workspace.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
We do have a question from chat real quick. This is a really cool suite. Do you have metrics on how much code in a given project is generated by AI and how much churn that code has compared to other areas of the project?
Oh, that's such a great question. I'll try to answer that. I think we have some stuff that can get close. Mm-hmm. So like acceptance rates will give you like how much, like you could go to a specific repository and the activity in that specific repository. Like if I just wanted to shrink this down to one repo, and then I could look at something like tab acceptance rate and prompt acceptance rate. So that would give me a sense, and even like suggestions by total line count of how much AI activity was generated within that specific repo and, within that set of changes. So hopefully that kind of would get you close on the first part of the question. And then the second part of the question, we do have code quality metrics around code churn. So love that question. Here's just a specific, metric to hopefully answer that question. Yes, we do have percent of code work or code churn. So you could basically just have a chart that said AI active users, percent of of tab acceptance or prompt acceptance or suggested lines for that specific repo, and then I could have that right next to my percent of code rework. So what we're trying to get at here is like, how much slop, right, is AI introducing into my repo? I think is kind of what they're ultimately getting at. And that is why we've created this, because obviously we want to ship faster, and that's great if we can, but we don't want to ship just, AI slop, right? And I mean, Chris, I know you're familiar with a lot of that stuff, but like from a dev perspective, I think that's something that you probably are worried about, right? You want to make sure the code you're shipping is really good. So
this is exactly what I would be looking for to understand, like, how is AI impacting us as devs? Like, how much slop am I having to review day to day?
Yes. Okay, man, that's pretty much the lowdown on GitKraken Insights.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm looking forward to like just how it goes from here. Like, yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah.
Is there any like big thing? Like, I know you showed that like list of all the stuff we're planning. What is like the thing you're most looking forward to that we have?
Yeah, so there's a few things. Obviously, I get very excited about this, but one of the things that's in the very near future, we're talking like within days or weeks, is what we call voice of the developer surveys. So a lot of teams are just using basic like Google surveys or Microsoft surveys, and it's really hard to actually correlate that back to metrics. So if you saw like a spike in lead time, or a dip in some other metric, right? But you also wanted to get like, what's the sentiment? Maybe you guys, maybe a team rolled out like some new tools or a new build process, and there's a ton of friction maybe, right? Being able to correlate that from developer sentiment back with your other metrics is so critical. And we have, the team has built some really incredible capabilities to actually build and actually analyze. So it's the ability to send out surveys, a bunch of different surveys. They're configurable. You can use templates if you want, but then pull that data back in and visualize it right alongside those other metrics. So that's one that I'm super excited about.
So yeah, you could see like a spike in like AI usage, but then you could also maybe see a spike in like devs not being as stoked about it or something.
Totally, exactly. Well, and from each, like, let's say on that chart that you saw this spike, in whatever, whether it's usage or something else, you could send a survey directly from that chart out to a team, and be like, hey, is there friction in this workflow? What's the feedback? Do we like the tool? Do we not like the tool? What's happening? And get that feedback. So developers can, it's almost like the real-time feedback. We're not waiting 6 months,
Right. And like someone might send a message like that to the team in Slack or something, but then it just lives in Slack and it disappears, right?
Yeah.
Like it just fades into the mist.
Yes, exactly. So really, I mean, part of the whole thing, and one of the reasons I'm really excited about it, is like that kind of puts the, and that is really why we call it voice of the developer, but it's bringing the developer's perspective and sentiment from the team, from the devs back into these metrics. So it's like, we're not just looking at metrics on their own. We're actually looking at like, how do developers feel? Is the team, are they feeling healthy? Are things going well? Where's the friction? So hopefully it'll be, really, really empowering for the team.
Hell yeah. Yeah. Awesome. So one more comment, same person that asked that question before. Thanks for answering. That is cool. I find it a super interesting topic as generative tooling is becoming more common, how this is impacting projects as they evolve.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. It's very, very hot topic right now for many teams. And so we obviously want to provide the tooling, but we're also trying to like provide templates and resources that teams can use. So it's like, hey, here are kind of the different metrics and what sort of like are different spectrums on like, the kind of numbers that you want to be looking for. So hopefully that'll also help the teams as they're rolling out these new tools and new workflows to have some resources that they can go to as they're trying to, improve kind of their workflows when they're working with AI tooling. So we want to provide the obviously insights as a tool, but we also want to provide a bunch of resources on our website that teams can download and use, templates and stuff like that. So
awesome. Yeah. Appreciate you like coming on and showing us all this stuff.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I was super excited to be invited, and it was great joining you. So,
Yeah, awesome.
okay.
Yeah, I assume you got some more stuff to do, but yes, I appreciate it. Thank you for joining.
Absolutely.
And yeah, have a great rest of your day.
All right, cool. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Jade. See you, everybody, next
Later,
time.
Jeremy.
Bye.
All right, so I've got some time to fill. Basically, we're going to have another couple guests coming on in just a little bit. They're going to be talking about GitKraken Desktop and GitLens and some of the features that are coming for that. But I've got some time to fill in the meantime. So while I'm doing that, let me... What we're going to do real quick, and I could work on some of my code stuff some more too, but let me share my screen at least. Entire screen, screen 2. And my screen should be showing. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. So yes, there's Neckbeard, but let's take a look at some of the winners of our game jam that we ran as like part of the promotion for GitKon. I think it's actually really cool. There are some fun projects there. So I'm gonna copy the links. We're gonna pop them up over into here. Let's make it full screen. So this one's kind of fun. This is Git Sim, and it was a game jam, but we allowed like any kind of dev tool as long as it was like Git focused. And it runs Git commands inside of a temporary sandbox clone of the user's repo. It analyzes the results and provides visual feedback, including before-after commit graphs, expected file diffs, and some things that'll be rewritten. Now, I could have sworn there was a way of seeing this preview. It's just screenshots for now. But yeah, the idea would be you do git sim rebase main. So it's just instead of git rebase main, it will simulate running that. And you can just kind of like see what's going on in your project. And this was interesting. I find this, honestly, it'd be really cool if we could get this added to our CLI tool, in my opinion. It's MIT licensed, right? Hold on, let's double check. Yeah, it's MIT licensed. But, we'd have to call that out, make sure attribution is done the right way and all that stuff. But I do think this would be kind of interesting to at least like maybe build our own version, but it's a cool idea, right? Simulating these commands. And it looks like, we do have a video. This may be a bit tricky. I'm not sure if it's a public video or not. So hopefully we don't get like a copy strike or anything for this. But the main idea being, I hope you guys can hear the audio. A bit loud, but yeah, let me fix that. All right, so they're running git sim log-a-n10. All right, here's like log feature cherry conflict. And then boom, yeah, git sim explain merge. Right? Git sim explain rebase. It's a bit of like a hype video, isn't it? You probably could have zoomed in a bit more. Okay, so you guys cannot hear the audio. It's fine. All it is, it's like we're just hearing like drum sounds, like as if we were watching Inception, right? Right? So there you go. Just imagine that going and you're good to go. There is no goat sound in the background though, right? Like the South Park episode. Right? But yeah, it's still pretty cool. So yeah, we'll let this video finish. It's a shortish one. We got like a minute left. But yeah, the idea is it's just simply like showing you some of the stuff that's going on under the hood. Some of these commands I've never even seen before. I didn't know git snapshot was a command. Yeah, this was the third prize winner for the Game Jam. They won a $500 prize. So yeah, I mean, you know, it was a fun jam. We could have gotten more people involved because the winner got like a pretty hefty prize out of this. And yeah, I love the idea of like game jams or hackathons or things like that, because you then get to like hack on a thing you've been wanting to do, but there's a slight incentive. You know, you could win something. It was $2,500 for the first place, which is crazy. And King Goes Gaming. Yeah, how you doing there, King? Another bit of the audio you guys are being saved from is some of the bad AI voices that read some of that stuff. Stop guessing, start simulating, which is fun. But yeah, pretty cool. So I liked that simulator. Let's see. The second place prize. This one was kind of fun. All right. So yeah, second place was this one. Right. So this one was published up to itch.io. So you can actually run this yourselves. Maybe Jade could paste this link for others. But yeah, the idea is, could you run a simulation that kind of teaches you how to use git bisect? So let's check it out. So I'm going to zoom in a bit more. All right. So what we want to do, level 1, the missing coffee. All right. So currently the pot is completely empty. All right. So let's start the bisect. And we'll go and say, yep, this one's good. The pot is slightly less full, but it does still have coffee. And then, yeah, so it turns out this last one, this is where the coffee pot was emptied. Okay, cool. So now we can just go next. And we've loaded level 2. So the desk lamp is on, and the desk is definitely empty. So there was an office heist. A key is missing from the desk. So let's start the bisect. We're going to go to here. The key is on the desk. That's a good one. We jumped ahead to bring in the safe, right? Add desk and chair. Install window blinds. Yep. So those are good. Right. This one, that's good. But oh, right. Keys on the desk in this branch or whatever. It looks like there's a suspicious lump under the rug. So we installed a rug, but the desk is empty. Oh no. So this is where it went missing. Right? Success. We did it. So yeah, that was the issue. So now I think we can go next. Did I mess it up? So we still needed to go mark the others as good. And again, this is a hackathon project, so it's not perfect. So we can go maybe, let's go one more, right? Next. All right, so we've got some corrupted code. Oh no, right? The server's crashing. Well, let's start the bisect. We go back to the first commit we see kind of in this chain, right? It's a stable release, server is running smoothly, usage is at 10%. We added auth, user can log in, connections are stable. So yeah, let's mark these as good. Let's mark this one good. I think we've got some bugs in there, but that's fine. Query speed was improved, that one's good. A UI glitch was fixed, backend untouched, sure. And then, oh no, server crashing intermittently, memory leak detected. Well, that's the bad commit. So now if we were trying to figure out how to solve this bug, we know at least which commit introduce the change that has the memory leak. So there we go, right? Kind of a fun project if you want to fiddle with it and understand what the use of bisect actually is. So yeah, pretty cool project. I enjoyed it. This was one of my favorites for sure. And then the winner. This one is really cool. So this next one has probably the best graphics of any of the hackathon projects we had. It's called Voxelverse, right? So it's published to itch.io, and it's a 3D gamified Git experience built for fun to learn. So now let's head on into it. Hosted on Net. Okay, select. Let's go detached bridge. And yeah, so performance optimization could be good, like from whatever machine you're on, but whatever, could be worse. So the idea here is that we want to get to this point. So move Keef, right? Keef is our mascot here at GitKraken. And let me double check on chat, just make sure I'm not missing anything. Oh, and King said, are the bosses convinced yet? No, not quite, not yet. Is my video is probably a bit choppy, huh? Yeah, I normally, when I'm streaming on my main stream, I have a stream PC that does like the broadcasting, and then I have like my separate Mac Mini that I do my dev on. So typically, there's no performance issues introduced to stream. But here, it's all coming from the same machine, and it is just a poor little MacBook Air. This thing is doing the best it can right now. I could boil an egg on this thing. Okay, so the main branch is broken. Branch off, build a fix, merge it back. Okay, so git branch, maybe git branch fix. Maybe it's git checkout. Let's do a help. So they don't do the git branch command. I typically use checkout myself as well. Right, so what we're going to do is call this, I don't know, we'll just call it fix. Switch to a new branch called fix. All right, now we can move, keep around here. There's the gap detected. We reach the head. And yeah, so I'm a little bit confused about the right way to work it. But it is very visually stimulating, and you know, it's kind of fun. But yeah, so a bad commit has introduced a bug. Check the logs and revert the change. So then yeah, what I want to do here, git log. So bad actor added a critical bug that locks everything. All right, so git, let me just do help again, just to be sure. So it looks like only certain, okay, so these are hints. Got it, okay. Then we want to revert to maybe a different branch, and we'll do fleet 99. Bad revision, what did I do? Aha, so we reverted the bad revision, and now we are on the right thing. And now, so it's definitely got some issues with it. And yeah, exactly, Caleb.
Okay. Shout out to our Game Jam winners.
We are-
We're so appreciative of them. And now, Chris, can you hear me okay?
For the MacBook Air, it's doing its best. The little MacBook Air that is killing my performance. All right, we should be good now.
All good. Okay, perfect. Lovely. I am really excited because first up, we have our senior product manager, Jonathan Silva. He is Mr. All Things Get Kraken Desktop. Like Chris was saying earlier that this is his bread and butter. It 100% is. And we have some really cool new product releases. So he is going to pop up and share them with us. So Jonathan, we're adding you to the stage. Thank you so much for being with us.
Wow. Hey, everyone. Good to be here. Glad to be here. Hey, Chris, how you doing?
Product manager, it's product marketing.
Different titles. I got product advocate. Either way,
There you
thank you,
go.
Jay, for the lovely intro. But yeah, I'm here to talk to you all about some recent changes that we had with GitKraken Desktop. If you ever are curious about what's been happening with the product, we do try our best to post on YouTube. So we post probably monthly, I would say, Chris, just like a what's new video.
Yeah, I mean, across like all of our products, it's probably more often than that even, but yeah.
Yeah, for sure. You're right. When we include the others, it's way more than that.
Yep.
So you can always stay up to date just by visiting youtube.com/GitKraken. And you also see a couple other places where we like to populate what's new. Now, heads up, this is my first time using this stream service. We're going to figure it out together. It'll be fun. But I have a few things I prepared that I'm going to show off in terms of what came out. I'm combining both January and December. So for those of you watching outside of this live stream, this is January 2026 and December 2025. If you're watching outside of that, I'm sure you'll still see some of that when you log in and take a look for yourself. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to try that thing where I share my screen. I see a button that looks like share your screen. And we're going to, here we go. One more setting. Wish me luck, Chris.
Oh, you got this.
I got it, okay. Hopefully it's not Inception. Let's see, which screen do you see? How much trouble am I in over here? Let's
I think
see.
it'll take a second to show up.
Okay, cool.
I think Jade's kind of managing like the
Oh, sweet.
feed.
Oh, wow, Jade, thank you. Love having that backstage support.
Yep. We're not seeing it yet.
Let me try one more time. Oh, interesting. Do I have to be on Chrome? I'm a Firefox person. Here we go.
Oh, it might need to be it might not need to be Chrome.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Well, can you vamp for a bit, Chris, and I'll jump
Absolutely.
back on.
Yeah, take your time.
Yep.
I'll just hang out.
BRB.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Firefox too. It does bum me out that some services just don't work as well. I use Firefox for my like daily driver on my personal machine. Like, what browsers is everyone in chat using? Anything like fun or different? I know there's like the new ones like Zen and I guess Arc. Is Arc still a thing? I think Arc's dead, right? But that same company's got some new thing or whatever. I use Brave on some devices as well. I do think we need some new browsers, right? The fact that Safari is still independent of Chrome, I think is valuable, right? Like, we definitely don't want everything to coalesce on one browser. Welcome back there, Jonathan.
All right, let's see what happens when I try this.
Ooh, and real quick about the browser stuff. That's what I was like kind of vamping about, like filling the time. Someone, like, I was mentioning that I use Firefox when I can, Chrome, Brave. There's new stuff like Zen, and someone chimes in. They're looking forward to using Ladybird in 2020.
Ladybird.
Yeah, so
I've
Ladybird.
never heard of. Wow.
It's brand new. It's totally open source, brand new, completely like separate. It's not using Chrome under the hood like some of these like other wrapper browsers are. So yeah, something to keep an eye on.
I like the name.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's like a historical call out. That's interesting. All right, let's see. All right, here we go. Wish me luck. Pressing the
Good luck.
buttons. Oh, now it's actually asking me real questions.
Like permissions and stuff like that.
Yeah, like which window you want to share. This is a good sign.
Perfect.
We did it, chat. Thanks, chat.
Woo!
We did it. Yeah. All right. Let's continue with the show.
I do
So,
love
hey,
that
everyone.
screenshot, by the way, real quick.
I know.
That's a good one.
It's I love doing the photography whenever I make these videos. So yeah, that one was a fun one. Because one of the big updates that we pushed out recently was full ARM support. So
oh,
for
the ARM. Oh, I just
That's
now
right.
got that. Oh my
there
god.
you go. It's in the thumbnail.
That's genius. Real quick, could you zoom in a bit for us on
Yeah, I
the
probably
text
can.
and all that?
Thanks for that.
Yeah, no
How's
worries.
that?
You could go a little more, just in case.
I think
people might.
I think that's the most the app will let me. That's 130.
Oh, you're inside the app right now. Got it.
I'm inside the app
Yeah,
right
yeah,
now.
yeah. I wasn't looking. Yeah, makes sense.
Pretty cool.
I have gotten feedback from some users that we should really allow more than 130.
More than I think that would be more. I like that. That seems more accessible.
I've had multiple people request that at this point.
Okay.
So
We
I'll
should
push
pass
back
that
on
on.
the team more. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
Go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
No. This is good. Because that's our biggest update for definitely 11.8. We rolled out support for Windows and Linux ARM builds. And so for the longest time, we supported ARM builds for Mac. So if you had the ARM 64, and in case you're ever curious about like which version you're running, I had a user on one of our YouTube comments ask, "Hey, how do I know if I'm running the right build?" The easiest way to find out, so I have GitKraken desktop open. I have the release notes here, so I can kind of see what's been happening recently. It'll always pop up when you download the latest version. But over here, I'm on Mac. So for the other OSs, it'll look a little different. But if you navigate just to the GitKraken menu, we do show you which version, which edition you're running. Well, which version number and then which edition. So in my case, I'm on 11.8. I'm running ARM 64-bit, which is the appropriate version for my machine. In case you're curious about what those all look like, let me bring in another window. Just head over to gitkraken.com/downloads. Now this is one, Chris, where I can zoom in a whole
There we go.
ton.
Yeah.
So you can see that we rolled out ARM builds for Windows. We've always had the one for Mac, but here it is. And then definitely Linux is getting some love here. So we have the Linux arm.deb. We have it for the .tar.gz and also for the
For Red Hat and
RPM.
Fedora. Awesome.
That's right.
Yep.
For Red Hat Enterprise Linux 8
Yep.
plus.
There you go. Nice. So real quick, someone has a question. Oh, cool. What stack is GitKraken on? What were the challenges to get full ARM support? Are you familiar with what any of the dev issues were with that?
Oh, I've like been in the kitchen where I've heard devs argue about what it takes to get to get it going. So I couldn't speak to specifics. That might be one where we
could bring on a
coordinate
dev for like a future
Yeah.
stream to talk about it.
Yeah.
I'll say at least a little bit of what I know about it. We're using Electron. And with Electron, there's certain like build server tools that you can use. I don't think we're on Squirrel anymore, but there are certain like Electron release tools that maybe didn't have great ARM support in what they built. And I think we had to build some of that stuff custom ourselves. And maybe we've ejected from Squirrel or any of that other stuff, maybe ages ago. And that might've been part of it. Oh, and you can see what it's built in.
Yeah. You can see
Oh.
the dependencies: Node-Git, Electron, Monaco, libgit2. I guess for those watching the stream or watching the VOD, I mean, fun fact, we have historically used Node-Git and libgit2 to perform the Git actions, but we are, over many releases, we've been slowly transitioning over to Git executable or Git proper. That has shown up in the app for those of you who love to explore settings and you go to experimental. I'm here under the experimental section. You'll see here that this is where we have the Git executable setting. And so you can check it on or off. But the advantage of checking it is that we will use either the version of Git that comes bundled with the app, or if you have one that you want to use in particular, you have a certain version you want to run. But when you have it checked, we will use Git to run a subset of Git commands, Git operations, I should say, inside the application. And usually that means it's faster. There you go. Why do it? Because it's faster for a lot of them.
So yeah, just like a little more context, NodeGit and libgit2 are kind of like wrappers and re-implementations of some of the Git like logic and stuff like that. But they're this like middleman between like when new stuff gets put into Git itself, and then there's this like process of then getting it into these like wrappers and re-implementations, and there's this like lag time before we can get like all that new stuff into the app. So by switching to the Git executable, we get those new features much quicker.
Beautifully said, Chris. Wow, eloquent. All those things are true.
Yep, exactly.
It was a big pain in the butt. We love those people. We love the folks there, but like they get busy, and
exactly,
you know,
and it's wrong of us to expect anything of them, right?
Yeah.
Whatever they do is awesome, and we love it. But at some point, like we want to move a little faster, and this is a way to do that.
Exactly. Okay, so that was the big update. I think it affects all of our users because now if for whatever reason you're running a version, say in my case, I was running the Intel version, I'll have a notification here in the top that says, I have a bunch of other, here we go. It'll look something like this, where it'll tell you that, hey, it looks like, hey, we have a new Apple Silicon version, go try that. And that'll be your little nudge to go try it out. Otherwise, you're watching this, you have the benefit of just going directly to the website and grabbing the version.
Yeah. And I will point out, you could run into performance issues if you end up using the wrong architecture for your system. So we've had some errors and bug reports about that in the past.
I think I accidentally downloaded the wrong version. I don't know what I was doing. I do tons of things for videos sometimes. So but I was running.
We did have one very small like patch bug that we actually were downloading the wrong one due to some bug that we had. So there was a very small patch version that you might have been hit by.
I think that was it. And yes, I noticed the pain that you might have if you're running the wrong version. So long story short, the version's there for you. If you need it, grab it. Your life will be so much better on the app.
Exactly.
Cool. Now, this next one is a continuation of a feature that we rolled out actually, I think in 11.6. I bet if I scrolled down, I would find it. But we've had requests from users to support shallow clone. And back in 11.6, we gave users the ability to open any repo that they have. How do I say this with proper English? Shallow cloned shallowly.
Yeah, there you go.
So if you went through the trouble of opening up the terminal, performing the shallow clone, just browse to it and we'll open it up for you. Now that's great, but the corollary to this I should just be able to do that within the application itself. And we agree. In 11.8, we rolled out the ability to perform a shallow clone directly in the application. In terms of what you're seeing here on the screen, I have just a new tab open. That's this plus icon that you see here at the top. When you open it, we have a nice shortcut to clone. And it's right there. You see the checkbox. You can hit shallow clone. And when you check this option, we'll provide you with some fields for your consideration here. So how deep do you want to go? What's the branch that you want us to grab? Usually it's main or master, but if you want to define, say, dev, you definitely could.
Yep.
If you have a cutoff date in mind, you could enter it here. And then we provide a catch-all in case you have certain flags that you wish to apply. It's just whatever you would normally run on the terminal in the CLI. You can add those flags as you would type them normally in the CLI. Just apply them here, and we'll perform that shallow clone.
So real quick for every, I just want to at least explain. Some people may not be familiar with what a shallow clone even is. So the idea is when you're cloning a repo and you don't do it shallowly, you are getting everything in the Git history, right? Every single commit, every branch, like all that stuff. With a shallow clone, you're still getting all the branches, or at least like the one that you're cloning, and then you can do a fetch and get all of them. But the amount of commits that you go back in history for, you can do that with a shallow of 1 and get just the most recent commit, or you could get the entire history, or you could go to the latest 50. And that's actually new to me. I thought it was always the most recent commit. I didn't realize you could go back 10 or 50 or whatever. So that was new to me just last week even.
Yes. Oh, that's very important. How dare I assume?
That's fine.
Okay. Well, I didn't even know what it was for a while either, and I learned
Sure.
it as a result of this feature set. But that's a really good point, Chris. So yes, I pulled up the Linux repo because it's a monster to clone. It's huge. It's old. There's
Right.
lots of references there. So if you wanted to say clone the Linux repo, but only the most recent 50, that would be a great way of just getting a lightweight version of what you need rather than waiting the whole time to clone that monster of a repository. So this is great if you have like mono repositories or and you just need something real quick, and this will help you get up and running. And then when you open the repository, you'll open it like normal. Let me see if I can. Let's actually try to do it. And I think to do it, I do have to do some shenanigans. So let's go and I'm gonna do. Chris, don't cringe at me, okay? But I'm gonna go to this remote. I just want the URL. I'm just gonna or let me head over to the remote directly. Let's just view it directly on GitHub. Phenomenal. All right, I just want to clone this thing real quick. Hold on. But before I clone it, I have to do some housekeeping. I have to destroy it. Let's see, sites, or just move it to a different folder.
Yeah.
Chris says that's probably the easiest thing to do. Chris,
I think so.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. That's way less destructive than what I had in mind. Okay, here we go. Click the plus icon. We're going to clone. I could clone with GitHub. I'm just going to use the URL. So there's the Linux repo. I'm just going to call it Linux shallow clone. And then I'll check the option here. I'm just going to leave it as default branch. Let's do 51.
Ooh.
I'm going to be a little, and then this is good. Let's just clone the repository and see what happens. So ideally, this will be a fraction of the time to clone as it would be cloning the whole thing.
How long does it typically take to clone the Linux
Oh, this
repo?
is good. It usually, we recently pushed out some performance improvements.
Okay.
So that like it's even faster, but it used to take me a few minutes. I think when we rolled out the performance updates in 11.5, it took less than 30 seconds. And this is promising because I think we're still under 30 seconds. The VOD will tell me the truth.
I could have started looking at the timer, but yeah, there we go.
Here we go. We did it. I think the most notable thing is that you'll just notice it. Oh, interesting. Lovely. Oh.
The demo gods.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Now, I did say 51. I hope this is 51. To me, not going to lie to you, this looks like more.
That does not look like 50.
And so I don't know why I did that. I will ask, but it does do it shallowly. I'm sure when you try it, it'll actually do its thing.
Yeah. That's just the nature of the demo.
I know but it's there. The checkbox is there. So if you're someone, if the moment I say shallow clone, that means something to you, for sure, go give it a try. And if you're shallow clone curious, also a nice little nudge to go give it a shot and tell us what you think. And especially if you have ideas for how to improve it, this is y'all's product too. Okay.
And for people who might be curious, we are at least looking at, I don't have any promises about when, we are looking at sparse checkout as well. It's going to be very useful because there are people on giant mono repos that might have thousands and thousands of branches. With sparse checkout, you can check out only the branches you care about, which is useful.
I like that.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? You just explained what it was to me. I have always heard this phrase floated around, but that's really cool. Okay. Now, those are the two big ones, but there are other things that now I said this is a combination of 11.8 and 11.7. So I do just want to show off a few more things from the previous release, because I also think at the very least, they make the app way more forgiving. And one of the things that we did is we improved the power of the undo button.
Hold on real quick. I want to correct myself. Yeah. Sparse checkout is actually about the file tree, not the branch.
File tree.
Yes.
Okay.
I just wanted to double check that. Sorry.
Thank you for that distinction.
Yep.
That's good. Putting the right information out in the internet. Okay. So in 11.7, we did improve the power of the undo button. One of the things that I used to tell users all the time is that you can undo just about anything in the application so long as you did it locally. And that is still more or less the case. So I just performed a checkout and I use the undo button to undo the checkout. But if you delete a file, if you commit even, we can undo the commit so long as you haven't pushed it up. But one of the things that the app would not do is undo a rebase. And I'm happy to report that we now have the ability to undo rebases. So I'm going to see if I can roll the dice here and eventually open a repository that has something I can rebase. I bet this one does. Okay, that's good enough. So let me check out dev here. Oh, I already merged this one in. Okay. You know what? Let's just do it. We're going to check out this branch. Let's just create a file. I don't know if folks know on the stream, but you can create a file directly in the application just by right-clicking the commit panel on the right. So I'm just going to create.
Yeah.
You didn't know that?
Yeah,
yeah. You can create it. Create it real good.
Cool.
And I'll just hit Command S to save. Here it is. Here's the file. I'm going to stage it. Let's use GitKraken AI to do just a quick, but decently useful. Come on.
So real quick while that's loading, Caleb chimed in. A shallow clone will clone all the commits, right? Like the hashes are there, but it doesn't get the objects until you like try and access them. So the objects from those commits are not on disk. So it's like the patches and things like that as it's like rolling the changes.
So that could be a space saver.
Exactly. But you still have the history, so you can like
Yeah.
access like where things were.
And that's good info. And that is probably the point most of the time. Is that's really all you need is just kind of see where things were introduced.
Yep.
Thank you, chat. I appreciate that. Okay.
Yeah,
now here I have a lame rebase, but it's a rebase nonetheless. We're gonna do it. It's a one commit rebase. Let's see if I could just rebase here. Let's see what happens. Okay, I think that worked. I think that rebased. So what I wanted to show off here is that you could undo that rebase now and it'll take you back to where you were before. Theoretically, the graph did not change in a meaningful way. That wasn't very convincing. Let me see if I can find a different repo to do that real quick. Let's see. What is safe for libgit? Libgit have anything? Let's see. Nah, I don't want to mess with libgit. So. We'll try one more. Let's see. Maybe the GitLens support docs.
I was just working on those recently.
Let's see if I could spot your remotes. Okay, yes, there's stuff here. Cool, great. Ooh, merge conflicts as well. Great. So I think I like Keith's branch here, or I don't know whose branch this is. Maybe it's mine. Let's see what happens if I think I'm going to hit a merge conflict, but let's just do it anyway. Okay, I think that worked.
Yeah.
It moved the reference to the top of this node that says updating title. I'm going to hit undo. Yes. Did you catch it? Did you see it? We undid the rebase. Okay.
Happens so fast, we should probably put it in slow-mo. Like for the
I know.
VOD.
Slow-mo.
Yep.
Now there's even more good news. The undo button works for multi-cherry pick. So I don't know, Chris, if you also know that you can like multi-select and cherry pick, more than one commit.
Okay.
And it'll take you into, we use the interactive rebase editor. So for those who have done interactive rebase in the app, this probably looks super familiar. We use it for the cherry pick as well. Now it's just 2 commits, but I could choose to squash them together or drop one and pick the other. And then there you go. Now in my case, I just triggered merge conflict, which is to be expected because I'm kind of running in there willy-nilly, but
yep,
you could click to undo that as well. And the other thing that you can undo is something that we offer through GitKraken AI. And that's the ability to do either a commit compose or a commit recompose. So that's what you're seeing here. I have 3 commits selected. I just used the shift key or the command key to multi-select a bunch of commits in the commit graph. Then I go over here to this button. I can click to recompose the commits. The GitKraken AI will think about it for a little while. And when it thinks about it enough, it'll bring up that same interactive rebase window once more. This is GitKraken. It will be GitKraken AI's way to give you a chance to double check its work. It just moved on to the hang tight. We're in analyzing your commit stage. I have faith.
Yeah, I think one thing that is interesting is that undo button is so much simpler than having to go like parse the command line of like, well, what arguments do I need to pass to revert to make this actually work properly?
Yeah.
Like all that stuff. Like, I don't even know. I've never needed to do that myself. Like usually I'll just be like, oh, I'm in a broken state. I'm going to create a new branch and copy stuff over because I'm just lazy and the command line's too confusing.
I think the undo button has been something that's been there since the very beginning. And combined with just the visualization of the commit graph. Oh, no. We hit an error. It's okay. It's fine. You can undo it too. That's the point. That's the punchline. If you do it, you can undo it and go back, which to me is amazing and really cool. Yep. I might need to double check my GitKraken AI connection settings because I have been fiddling with it offline. So maybe that's what's up. But anyway, the undo button to me was always something that made me feel a little safer when interacting with projects, because at the very least I could undo commits or undo deletes. And now that you can undo rebases, multi-cherry picks, and recomposes, I think that just expands the wiggle room that you have on the edges as you're like moving through your project. It's really cool.
Like even if you're using Git on the command line for like commit, add, push, pull, like the basics. Yeah, how would you do that undo? I don't know. I would probably pull up GitKraken desktop myself.
Yeah. I think like back in the day before we developed this app, like I remember I would walk by the dev room and there'd be like the one Git guy who was like standing behind the computer of another developer, and they're just trying to like untangle their swear words being used a lot, and they're just trying to like figure out what was happening. Exactly. And then I would walk away, time would pass, and I would hear this huge whoop of celebration because they finally figured it out.
Right. Exactly.
So like, I mean, I love the roller coaster of it, but I'd love to take that just to be, you hit undo and you're okay.
Right. Like, is that actually the fun part of being a dev, right? The maintenance and the rigmarole of it? No, like we just want to write the code and make stuff happen.
Yeah, let's not tax y'all for like documenting things unnecessarily, right? Like let's go ahead and keep that as easy as possible. Okay.
So Caleb here works on like Git tooling as well, and he's curious like how are we doing the undo, right? Are we using Git reflog or another mechanism? And I'm not even sure about that. I don't know.
I am not sure. I keep bringing it up. I keep tattling on Jordan. Jordan is our developer. I don't know if we have it up on YouTube, but he was featured on one of our GitKon panels. It's your boss is measuring you, now what? And he had amazingly insightful takes on what it means to be measured. Anyway, he would know. My guess is that yes, we are using the reflog to some degree, since that does have most of the history there. I don't know if we're doing our own logging on the side as well.
Right. So maybe it wouldn't interact completely with like if you're running stuff on the CLI and then bringing it back. So yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good question. Like if I were to do something on the CLI, I wanted to use GitKraken desktop to then undo it. Could you? Would the app even see that?
Right. Yeah. That's actually a good thing to test. And I don't know either.
Yeah. I know that we'll detect merge conflicts because I guess merge conflict is merge conflict wherever you open it. Like different apps will interpret it and see it. But that is curious to see if I rebase over here, can I use the app to undo it over there? We should write that one down, Chris, because I would love to know the answer myself as well.
I'm going to make a note for myself. I'll send it to you as a message.
Jade, I don't know how I'm doing on time. I'm figuring you haven't yelled at me yet, so it seems like we're okay.
She did mention that Melissa is backstage, so I could intro him. So it just depends, like, is there anything else, like, pertinent that you want to show us?
I have two more things, and then Melissa, I'll hand it over to you.
All right, so I'll stop interrupting. Go ahead.
Sweet. No, this is great. I'm enjoying it. Hopefully the
Me too.
Audience and the VOD is too. Okay, cool. So the two more things. So I did teach Chris how to create a file in GitKraken desktop. You didn't know how to do that before. But did you also know that you can preview text, markdown text inside of the application as well. If you didn't, that's okay, because we released it recently. So the way that you can see it, so let me see here. So I have GitKraken, sorry, the GitLens documentation project here. It really is just a whole bunch of markdown files. This is what you use. This is what we use for what you see when you go to help.gitkraken.com and explore the GitLens documentation. So here I can see that the GitLens release notes are available here from the commit panel. I can click into it and view the diff of the file. So in addition to being able to create a file, you can also edit the file. So that's this blue button that you see here in the top left corner. This goes for any file type, by the way. But because I am in Markdown, and I think I have to check out. Let me check out. Hold on, let me do one more thing, Chris. Okay. Haha. Yes. Okay. So because I am in Markdown, I do have this preview button that allows me to render the Markdown and show it here in the application. So it's a really nice way to like, hey, most folks, when they are using the app to edit files, they just have to tweak one or two things. I get it. You would rather use your VS Code or whatever file. I don't know. I can't think of the word. Text editor.
Yep.
You're using
IDE,
like
or whatever.
IDE.
Yep.
There you go. We get it. That's the heavy duty thing to use. But if you want to just pop in here from time to time just to tweak some things, it's a great way to like at least get some of the features you're used to in the application.
Yeah.
Okay. So last thing I'll show is an AI feature. So GitKraken AI is here, and let me just double check my settings over here. This was happening. See, Chris, I checked the box to use my own.
Just to see how it works.
I'm guessing how it
I was just like Studio or something.
I don't have a custom URL set up. I had in my mind I'm gonna go do that.
Okay.
And I checked the box for it, but I didn't. I guess okay, there we go. Now we're using GitKraken AI. Now when it does the recompose, it'll be faster. This was great. But what I want to show off before I hand it over to Melise is that you can right-click any branch that you see, whether you're looking at the commit graph itself or here in the left panel. You can right-click and access a new option to explain the branch changes.
Ooh,
so what this will do is it'll select, this is the nice part, it selects all the commits that are relevant to that branch. So you see them highlighted in the commit graph. And then on the right, GitKraken AI will provide an explanation of those changes. So this is a great way to to brush up on maybe a collaborators branch. Just check it out, right click on it, and you'll get a quick summary of what's been happening. Hell, even if you're just happy with just seeing what the commits are, I think that's powerful there as well.
Yep. But yeah, if you're jumping into a new project and you just want to understand some of this stuff, this is great. Right? Instead of having to reach out to someone on Slack and have them take time out of their schedule to do, explain stuff to you. Yeah.
Or you still meet up anyway, but now you have the context to ask more interesting questions when you do
exactly.
That conversation.
Yep.
So it's a win-win for everybody. Okay. I know there's a lot happening in the app, but hopefully that kind of shows you what's been happening recently with GitKraken Desktop. This is 11.8 and 11.7, but hey, feel free to scroll down. We've been rolling out lots of other changes. If anything, maybe a little lulls at the thumbnails. We have been having fun with thumbnails recently. So if you want to explore what's been happening, it's a great way to catch up and stay up to date.
Yeah, very awesome. Thank you for joining. I appreciate showing all this.
Of course, it's been a pleasure. And Melise, I will graciously hand it over to you now.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Sorry to keep you waiting there, Melise.
Oh, it's all good. It's always fun watching Jonathan work his magic behind the scenes.
Exactly.
Hey, nice sweater you got. Where'd you get that from?
It's really good. This is the GitKon one. You've got one too, right? Yeah. That was
yeah.
Solid.
I've got a few of these laying around, so figured I'd don it today.
Yeah, the fade on the sleeve, man, that is good. I haven't seen that many hoodies.
By the way, did somebody get any of these for swag? If they were watching GitKon, I think they did, right?
I think this was just for the speakers and us involved.
Oh, lucky us.
Yeah,
nice.
Exactly. Exclusive.
Cool. All right. Well, let's talk GitLens. I heard you guys want to learn some things about GitLens, what has been going on behind the scenes and what we've kind of been working on. And there's a lot of magic. It's it's some of the stuff Jonathan showed too in GitKraken Desktop. There are a lot of things related around like Commit Composer, but there's one really cool feature that we're going to take a look at today too, which is MCP in addition to Commit Composer. And so for some of you, if you haven't seen it, I'm sure everybody in the dev community has, Model Context Protocol has been huge. And so what GitLens wanted to do was kind of bring some of that Git intelligence directly into your IDE through agents and assistants. And we've basically created a way that can actually bring in issues, pull request assistance, and kind of just help you overall like debug and understand your history in general through MCP. And it's really neat. So I'm going to attempt something too. Let me see if I can share my screen here. Bear with me. I might have to pass this over to Jade.
No worries. But yeah, so a little bit of context. Our MCP server does kind of wrap some of the GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket, like all those other providers. So it saves you from having to like download and install those. And the way that we're kind of like grouping things together, it's less tools than if you were like having to juggle those other providers. So that we're kind of like helping you maintain your context window being a bit smaller. That's like one of the main goals behind that part.
Yep. And one of the really, besides MCP that we released, obviously, like I was saying, was Commit Composer 2, but like we've released a lot of cool updates. If you guys haven't seen them inside of GitLens yet, just to name off a few, like we've expanded support for linear. So now you can like start work on like issues and get actually rich information about your linear issues directly in GitLens. Azure DevOps support was highly requested. So we got server integration now. So you also get rich issues and PR integration with that for ADO servers too, which is really cool. And one new thing, which is an update to the commit graph, which is awesome, is the natural language graph search. So now you no longer have to go through filters. You can if you want, but you can actually search for the repo easily without, complex queries directly here inside of the graph. And there's some other really neat updates, but in the sake of time, we'll skip over those. But I did, if you guys have a chance, I did want to say, check out Visual History. It's been updated to actually include repos and folders now. So if you guys used GitLens in the past, you might remember it was Visual File History, and it was like limited to file history only. Now it includes repo history, and it's really powerful.
Interesting. I haven't seen that feature yet.
Yeah, it's actually pretty neat. I mean, we can actually, I don't know, we're going to digress a bit, but we can take a little peek at it. So right here, you can see it's been updated, and you can actually access and change specific references right here, or you can choose the file and folder level to actually visualize as well. So it's gone through a massive overhaul. So highly recommend checking that out again if you haven't seen it.
Awesome.
Cool. All right, let's dive into Commit Composer. So, aside from all the awesome changes we actually rolled out, like Commit Composer is something really cool that helps you create cohesive commits that you can review, you can modify them, and you can refine them before applying them to the repo. And so we have functions inside of Commit Composer that actually let you control the models and kind of guide the AI and provide custom instructions to match like your team's conventions and preferences on like actually creating the commits. So it's really cool, and it takes a lot of the manual work away from having to create commits. And something cool that we just rolled out in, I believe it was 17.8, and Chris, you might have been part of this too. I think it was the our ability to recompose commits as well. We'll take a look at that too. But for what I did here is I actually staged a couple different changes. You can see up here, I've got some changes in different files here. I created a new file as well. And so inside of the commit graph, you get this neat work in progress right here, which kind of shows you kind of the different, I have my file additions here. I have the changes listed, and you get this awesome commit compose button, and this is really cool. So when I hit this, it's going to actually open a new preview window here, and this is so cool. So what we're looking at is a preview. Oh,
it just disappeared.
I saw that.
Not true.
Let's see if we can
get a chance. Can you zoom in a bit more too?
Yeah,
a little bit.
There we go. All right, looking good.
Yeah, could you just like zoom a little more?
I could. Let's see if we can. I've got so many different modules open and stuff. Let's close some of these out or make some room here. So
yeah, you could even like get rid of the panels. Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
That looks good. Everybody can see that. Great.
It's better. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So this is the new commit composer, and what you're looking at is it actually orchestrates like my commits here. So I can see files changed. I can see if I want to generate a specific commit message around those files, I can do that. And then if this is too much, if I have a lot of changes, like I was, going through this earlier and I had I think it was 10 or 12 changes and they were stacked and they were kind of long. I can actually collapse all these and just kind of make room for what's important for me, which is sweet. But this is really where the magic happens.
Oh, it just died again.
Of course, right where the magic happens. Jade, are you behind the scenes, trying to screen share something else?
Yeah.
All right.
Sure what's going on there?
That's fine. We got to back up. There we go. So over here, I can have the commit composer actually auto compose my commits. And if I, want to select a specific model provider, I can. If I have a preference, I can choose to use, my Anthropic. I can connect my key there. I'm actually on Copilot right now. We're just going to go ahead and roll with that. But GitKraken AI is also included in here with Gemini 2.0. So let's try it out. Let's give it a go. And we can give it additional instructions if we want. Now, this is good. So if you want to refine the commit specifically to the way your team normally works, or if you're, you want somebody to read these a specific way, you can actually put in specific instructions and parameters in there. And I actually have some unstaged changes. We're going to go ahead and just include those. And it's really neat that Commit Composer actually offers that feature. So we're going to go ahead and auto compose the commits.
Yeah, this is good me seeing this because I got into this panel earlier and I wasn't necessarily sure where I was and what I was doing.
Yeah, this is generally the lay of the land. It can get, and if you have a lot of tabs up here, it might get lost. But yeah, what you want to just do is hit that commit compose button. And then instantly you can see it's already made the suggested commits right here. So it's combined them into one commit, actually two commits, which is awesome. And it gives you a nice little explanation of all the changes here. So I don't even, to be totally honest, I don't remember what all these changes were, but it's awesome to see them all aggregated right here. And if I don't like the way these were drafted, I can actually just recompose the commits right here. And I can actually specify okay, do I want some specific parameter instructions around that?
And this is just like a natural language prompt you would type, right?
Correct. Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, this is great. And let's just go ahead and hit these commits. These look good to me though. So let's go ahead and create them. Let's open back up the graph so we can see. Cool. And there's my two commits. You can see it was made by me. I can see 9 seconds ago using the inline blame feature on the graph. And I can also see the changes right here. So this is really powerful, especially if you're working quickly and you got a lot of changes that you don't, kind of want to lose context of. You can just go ahead and use Commit Composer to get those right there committed. And another really neat thing is if I want, I believe I can do them on mine right here. I could actually recompose the selected commits. And it doesn't have to be specifically on, my commits. I can come down here and check, let's see, maybe fixes onboarding label here. Keith's got something going on. Maybe I need to recompose these. I can actually select those and go ahead and recompose them if I need to.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that's Commit Composer. It is getting a lot of updates. I believe in 17.8, the most recent one. That specific feature where you could pick specific commits to clean them up and kind of let AI restructure them was just introduced. So go ahead and try that out when you guys get a chance. That's a great way to kind of recompose your commits. And then something else we want to go ahead and take a look at, I closed it out, but is the MCP function. So obviously a lot has been going on with MCP in the space, right? And GitKraken, we know that Copilot and Cursor, all these other great agentic tools offer, the ability to work and get coding assistance and development assistance within the IDE, right? So we were like, how do we bring that directly into something like this, where you actually get intelligence and get context, right? And it's more than just being able to just ask something simple okay, can you check out this, specific commit for me or something. It's actually, it will connect directly to your Jira issues if you have those connected, GitHub assigned issues. So I can literally come in here and we will ask, let's just say, what issues are assigned to me. So before I do that, you can go over here and see I've got MCP server connected. And these are all the tools that will run in the background. So you can do things like list or create branches, update remotes. It's a very extensive list currently, and it's being expanded on with some of the newer releases coming too. So we're going to keep adding different tool sets that will run and kind of help you leverage and utilize MCP. But
real quick, let me jump in of a lot of tools, right? And one of the big complaints about MCP servers is that all those tools and how they work and all that actually occupies your context. So we are at least looking into and considering how we can make that a bit more dynamic, so that you're only loading the tools that you would actually need. So we're considering that. We're trying to figure that part out because that is like the biggest pain point with MCP servers in general.
Yeah, and actually, Chris, to that point too, if anybody watched GitKon, and if you didn't get a chance to, I believe it's on YouTube, but Eric did a really good session on talking about MCP and like MCP safety in GitLens and kind of the direction we're going with, building specific tools out. And even, Chris, what are those called? The prompts, like expanding on prompt functionality and stuff like that. So it actually can stack specific tools together to run even more advanced kind of feature sets inside the MCP.
So Caleb has a quick question. Isn't there a part of the MCP protocol that allows for gradual tool discovery? Yes, but the big problem is that most of the clients, right? So the MCP server that we're running has support for like, we could dynamically do the tools update function, right? And inform the clients that they need to update their list. But most of the clients out there don't actually support that. So it's part of the spec, but most of the tools don't actually support it yet. And that's the biggest problem out there.
Yeah. Thanks, Chris. And I think one other thing to note too is like I was working in here and you can see like literally this is the GitKraken MCP server running right here to add commits for me. So it's cool just to see how it kind of operates inside of the Copilot framework here. And actually I usually use it inside a Cursor, but we're just going to demo it inside of a Copilot here. So let's go ahead and do, oops, looks like I got switched over on my model. Let's switch to GPT-5. Let's try that again. There it goes. So you can see it spinning up the actual MCP server and it's connecting to my GitHub provider as well. So remember inside of GitLens, you have the ability to connect multiple different types of providers. You can have GitLab. I mean, like we mentioned before, we've got a lot of new ones coming too, but oh my God, look at all my, looks like somebody's been slacking at work. Look at all these issues I got. Okay.
Instant hide.
I didn't cut the screen out on that either, but let's open that back up. It's a long list. But
management saw that and yanked the feed.
So here's all the different MCP.
Hold on, we're still not seeing it yet.
Oh, can you see it now? Jade, you might have to enable it. It says I'm sharing the screen. There we go.
Okay.
Thank you. Cool.
Thanks, Jade.
So you can see over here, let me make this a little bigger. That was the MCP server running. And so you can see it pulled from my GitHub provider, all the different issues I have open right now. And it looks like I've been missing on some things, changing the color of a button to green. Okay, cool. Code cleanup.
I mean, some of these are like demo things that you do.
This is definitely a sandbox, just to be clear.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of these. But yes, you can imagine like if you're working, right, and you need to actually figure out, what issues you need. They're all right here available inside of MCP and just natural language conversational, right? Like I can have a whole conversation and get specific Git intelligence out of my conversation with my agent too. So, so that's MCP, and there's a lot coming down the pipeline for this too. I believe the most recent release was 17.8, and inside of 17.9, we didn't really do anything with MCP that's out yet. There's a bunch coming, I believe, in the next release after that. But with Commit Composer, I did want to say there is interactive to rebase editor improvements that were made, Commit Composer improvements, and a lot of cool stuff. So I highly recommend if you guys take away anything from this call, just definitely make sure to check out MCP and Commit Composer inside of GitLens, and try the new Recompose feature too. It's really neat. So cool. Chris, anything else you want to add to this about these two awesome features or anything else we take a look at?
No, I think this really this covers at least stuff that I was curious about because I am less informed about GitLens these days as I focus more on CLI and MCP stuff.
Nice.
So yeah, thank you.
Sweet. Thanks everyone. Let me pass it back to Jade.
Hello. Thanks so much for coming, Melise. You were incredible. And we're going to have you back for many more. So thank you, and we will see you later.
Got it.
Later, Melise. Thanks again.
Everyone.
Okay, guys, and this is bringing us towards the end of our build session number 1 of 2026. Chris Griffin, you have crushed it all day today, from the Convince Your Boss tool to hosting and mediating all of these different sessions. But thank you so much. And for everyone in the chat, be sure to follow Chris on everything. He is the dev advocate of all dev advocates, and we are so lucky to have him here at GitKraken. And of course, follow us on all socials. Make sure you're staying up to date. We're going to do more of these build sessions. Send us more topics that you want. Let us know what you want to see, and we will make it happen. But Chris, I will let you wrap us up and take us home. But thank you guys so much for coming.
All right. Yeah, sounds good. So anyone else in chat have any questions or, anything that, we should cover before we wrap up? Feel free, send it there in chat. We'll give it a couple seconds. But yeah, like the Convince Your Boss app, I'm enjoying building that, and hopefully I get more time to work on that here on stream, etc. It's been like a side thing I've been working on that hasn't been official, so maybe we can make it official.
I know, right? Maybe it's something we can like do this scheduled, and then that is your time where you get like 2 uninterrupted hours of just like build time.
Exactly. So yeah. It looks like no other major questions that we need to address. You can always reach out on social media and ask us there as well. But thank you all for joining us. And yeah, I really appreciate this. This is the first of hopefully many sessions like this. So Hope you enjoyed it.
Thanks, guys. Stay legendary. Bye.